Hello and welcome back to the Virtual V8 Supercars. We've got round 7 coming up for you after a 5-week hiatus. I don't know how you've coped while we've been away, but we're back so you can stop your misery. And today I'm joined once again by Danny Asbury. Welcome, Danny. You excited to be back?
Oh yeah, I'm one of the guys that couldn't cope with the 5-week break. I was actually ready to go last week for the broadcast, jumped on 1 o'clock like I usually do, and it's like, where the heck is everybody, So I thought it was a week, we started last week as opposed to this week, but I'm back. Finally, we get some V8 action for us, Ryan, to satiate our appetites, and here we go, Oran Park, one of my favorite tracks on the calendar.
Yes, this is probably the most exciting track on the calendar, I would say, after Bathurst, and definitely the most destructive we've seen over the years, Danny. I mean, we've had plenty of incidents over the years on this track, because of its bumpy nature and its roller coaster twists and turns, it leads to incident.
Yeah, out of all the tracks we go to, and I think that's the proper term to call this one, a roller coaster, because this track actually has a characteristic where it seems like as a driver it's trying to throw you off the circuit. There's a lot of bumps, a lot of undulations on this track, and if you're not paying attention at every second on every turn, you can run into some trouble here. So the drivers have to have the utmost concentration at this track and at Bathurst, coming up at the end of the season. So everybody's got to be right on their game after this 5-week hiatus.
They do. We'll run through the race format in just a second, but while we're setting off the show, we'll go through the championship standings, and it's quite a fascinating championship battle, really, isn't it, Danny? I mean, Jeffrey Rietveld's probably, well, you'd be difficult to argue against the fact that he's been the fastest driver so far this season, but he does not have a big championship lead.
Yeah, that's the thing. What Rietfeld has 3-4 wins so far. I believe it was 3 is the number. But Jasper Tauber hasn't got a single victory. It's only a few points behind Jeffrey. So I mean, this is still a whole lot left in play. A lot closer championship than we saw in 2012, where it was pretty much Tauber who ran away through with the lead.
Pretty much done by this round, actually.
Exactly.
Wasn't it last season? Yeah.
I mean, now we're really going to see the final championship push be made either by Rietfeld or Thalberg for this thing.
And last time we had this format, just to go back to the race format, just to tell you what the format is for today, we have 39 laps around Oran Park. You might think that's quite a lot of laps. Well, it's only 1:04 long, isn't it, Danny? So these laps will be clicked off pretty quickly indeed. And there are 2 races today. So we have 2 races of 100 kilometers in length. Drivers must make a pit stop. It's not mandatory in the rules, but you just can't make it on the 75-litre fuel tank. You can't make 100 kilometers on that. So drivers will be pitting. So we'll see 1 pit stop today, ideally 1 pit stop depending on what happens. But also drivers have sprint tyres. Now, we've had this format twice this season so far. This is the final time we have this format, in fact, actually. And in the first first event where we had this format, Toby Davis and THR put on an absolute clinic, didn't they, Danny? But then at Simmons Plains, it was Precision's turn to shine in the same format.
It took Precision a little longer to catch on to how to use these sprint tires quite as effectively as THR, but now that Precision have gotten a hold of it, they're just as quick as THR. Obviously, now it's going to be, I believe, just mano a mano at the front. Because, Ryan, we just, the North American leg of the championship we just went through, it was pretty much Precision domination on these endurance tires, where those guys seem to have the advantage over all the other teams. So it's going to be nice to see this nice equalizing factor like we do today in these sprint tires.
Well, one would hope so. When we take you to the track, we'll see that Jeffrey Rietveld is setting a scorching pace. We saw that in previous races, actually. In fact, so maybe not at Barber Gallo, but at Simmons Plains, who's definitely the fastest driver, but lost concentration and went off the track. And this is a sort of circuit where a loss of concentration is not more likely to happen, but more likely to have dire consequences. That's something that Rietveld's himself needs to make sure he keeps a lid on here, because Torborg is not the type to make a mistake. Although, having said that, Danny, at this track, 2011, he qualified on pole position for this round. That was his first pole in a V8 Supercar, and he was still searching for his first win that season as well. Didn't get his first win until 2012 when he won the title. But in 2011, he qualified on pole, and then probably span it at the second corner. So, just goes to show, this is the kind of track, Danny, that throws curveballs into the equation.
Yeah, Talbot. It's fair to say that Talbot wasn't the same driver he was then that he is now. But yeah, you do see drivers run into trouble at this track because, especially turn one, you got to go so fast through that complex, and if you're off just a little bit, then you're either off the track or you've lost just a tremendous amount of time through that corner. So yeah, this track pushes the drivers to the absolute limits, and I'm actually watching live right now. We're seeing Talbot go off, but this is going to be a track today where we're going to see a lot of drivers struggle, but it's going to be who can keep the car under them. And like you said, Ryan, I mean, Rietveld has ran into trouble early in the season keeping his car on the track. Can he stay clear of that type of trouble today and not only keep his championship lead but extend it? That's going to be the key factor here.
It's going to be the key factor, and of course we're going into the final round of Bathurst. He will, if he teams up with Jack Geethy, he probably will be the favourite for that. So Torborg needs to be ahead going into the final round of the season, one would think. So there's 3 rounds for him to do that, and 4 races in total. As you can see from the calendar there, we go to Sandown Raceway. It's the first time that Sandown has been used in fact in TPS, never mind the Virtual V8 Supercars, so very much looking forward to that race. And that's the same kind of format as we saw at Adelaide, where Rietveld could only manage 4th place, having complained of a small bit of damage early on and destroying his tyre wear. But then we go to Sydney Olympic Park for the 3rd season in a row for that track, and that's an excellent track to drive around, but again, destructive, always brings up a few stories. Toby Davis got his first V8 Supercar win there in 2012, and Adrian Hormels won in 2011 on his debut, so it's all happens at that track. And then, of course, we go to Mount Panorama for the finale of this event. Co-drivers at Mount Panorama, and co-drivers who have not been involved in the series in an extensive way. Drivers can only have taken part in 2 events in the season to be able to partner one of the main drivers for the series. So just like in real life, you can't have taken part in more than 2 events. And that's a 500-kilometer race rather than 1,000. In real life, we have a 500-kilometer race there. So all can happen there. That is the rest of the season for you. Coming up in the Touring Pro Series on Wednesday, in fact, actually, is the 8th round. Oh, it's flying by, isn't it, Danny? This Tom was called Clio Series. There's only 3 rounds to go. 8th round of 10. When we're going to go to Silverstone for this event. Those 2013 Clios certainly provided plenty of great action last time around, didn't it?
Yeah, this championship is flying by fast. I know when the initial calendar was actually released for that 10 race championship, I said, wow, there's a lot of races for the Clios. I remember when I signed on to do commentary for season 2, we only had 6 races in the championship. So 10 races, they have gone by very quickly, and now we get to a track that's been one of the most storied tracks in Virtual Clio series. I know drivers like Toby Davis particularly like Silverstone, so it's going to be really cool to see the guys tear it up over there once we get to Wednesday.
Absolutely. So make sure you tune in on Wednesday. As you can see, there is a time there, GMT, that time is in, but that's basically 7:45 for UK and 8:45 for anybody in Central Europe. And of course, you can go from there if you're any other different parts of the world. We have plenty of people viewing internationally, of course, and that's on Wednesday. So make sure you tune in for that. Keith Barrick and Scott Woodwis will be your commentators, and hopefully Thomas O'Cole will also be in the booth for that event, and that will be excellent to see as the championship begins to get a bit tighter and a bit more pressure as we get towards the end of the season. Jack Keithy in control of that championship at the moment. Again, another precision driver. So let's go into the action for you and show you what's been happening on track. Just a minute and a half to go before we go into qualifying, in fact, and qualifying is a 15-minute session, and you do as many laps as you like. At the moment, as you can see, Rietveld is comfortably the fastest driver on track at the moment, 104.273, excuse me. We saw last season the pole position was a 104.4 from William Levette, and in the season before it was 104.6 from Jesper Torborg. So THR have had the last 2 pole positions. What do you think about them continuing their run of 3 in a row here in the V8 Supercars?
Well, what's interesting, out of all the times done this week, only Rietveld has been able to go quicker than the pole time last year of William Levesque, and with I believe Rietveld, the fastest he's been able to do is a 104.1. So it's not looking good so far at the moment for THR, because you're seeing Rasmus Salo, who's an Optimum sim racing driver, and Eric Schwan, an ice cold driver.
That's a story that we haven't broken to the public yet, Danny. He's actually now a THR driver.
Yes, you know what? I thought I heard that going into this, but then I'm looking at his skin, and you know, because we had a little bit of technical issue, but the point is, yeah, he's now THR, and I do want to talk about that a little bit, Ryan. And
Feel free.
With about 5 seconds to go here before we get into quali, I'll touch on this quickly. You know, Toby Davis, obviously he's not here, one of the THR head guys, but you know, THR, what they've been able to do here with their branding and bringing a driver like Rasmus Salo in, it's a testament to what they've been able to do in the Touring Pro Series. Because I know it used to be a guy like Toby Davis, he had to really go out and recruit drivers to get in THR. Now their team kind of brands itself, it kind of promotes itself rather, where you've got drivers like Salo, like a Kevin Brents that go and contact THR about being involved with the team. And when that happens, it just makes things a lot easier. And you know, it's unfortunate for Optimum Sim Racing having lost Salo, who was their star driver this year. They have to now recover and go out and recruit other drivers. But you know what THR has been able to do with the branding of their team, I mean, it's really helped them. So now that you know they've lost, I believe. Who is the driver that Eunice Ravio they've lost for the season? Because obviously Eunice has military service to attend to, but you know they get Rasmus Salo to step right into his shoes, and so they can go on and challenge Precision without really losing a beat. They get another star driver to replace the one they just lost. So THR, they've done a phenomenal job doing that, and hopefully they can just continue to do well in this championship.
Okay, let's go back into the action now then. As we discussed there, of course, Salo joining THR's brought Tommy Oyala with him also. Ravio, as I say, is absent now from the Touring Pro Series for the next year, unfortunately, because he's had to go and do his Finnish military service, which Rasmus Salo is also absent for a year. And he has taken a win in the Touring Pro Series, remember. World Touring Masters Season 2, I think it was, at Salzburg Ring, either way. Maybe Season 3, I think it was, in fact, actually. But he has taken the win in TPS, so he has, you know, he has that prestige level there. There has been very much, not rumours, almost open infighting between the Precision teammates. And I don't know if you've been catching up on this, but Jeffrey Rietveld and Sammy Kilo have been at loggerheads for much of the season behind the scenes, but it has come out more since Watkins Glen and Montreal as well, and even today during the practice sessions, Jeffrey having strong words with Simon about his decorum during practice sessions, and Jeffrey is under the big suspicion that his own teammate is going to maybe deliberately take him out of this race. What do you think of that, Danny?
Wow, I mean, I had no idea about that, to be honest with you. And if
hey, juicy gossip for you, Danny.
If that is true, then that
Get your teeth into that one.
You know, we were just talking about, you know, Precision and THR having this scrum for the Constructors title, but if that's actually the case, then Precision have a fight that they have to get through within themselves first, because if they're gunning for one another, if something as ridiculous as that is true, then Precision, they're done. You can forget about them. You know, I mean, Keeloff, he's a guy who I mean, I've talked to Keeloff. He's a nice enough guy. I'm curious how that really came about, that he's going after Jeffrey Rietveld, the championship leader, in that way. So, I mean, this is something we can definitely monitor as the race progresses here, Ryan. I mean, right now we're seeing Rietveld stuck in behind a slower driver. I'm not sure who this is in front of him.
Jeff Dobbing.
It's Dobbing, yeah. I mean, it looks like Rietveld. I mean, Rietveld wants to get a quick time in as fast as possible. Finally gets around Dobbing, and now I think that's pretty much going to scrub off 3/10 at least from his lap time. We'll see if he can salvage this lap, but you know, we're seeing actually Precision. They went out in formation to begin Rietveld's quali lap. Keeloff wasn't too far behind, but it seems like maybe those guys have now a little space in between them. Here's Jasper Tallberg going through, I believe that's Sector 1, 10th down on, who is the time posted? Rietveld, a 104.3. That's very good, despite being held up by Dobbing there. So Jasper Tallberg,
he set that on the lap before he caught up to Dobbing. He slid very early on, very quickly. So the 3.4 was that's an excellent lap, though, as you said, as a banker's immediate first lap out at 3.34, should I say. Nobody's gone quicker than that, so he's virtually got pole position with his first run. Although Torborg now, look at that, purple in Sector 2, so he's definitely flying. We often see this from Torborg, actually. In fact, Danny, he doesn't do any qualifying runs in the immediate run up to the race. He'll just do race sessions and see how he goes. A 3.8. So there you go. He has beaten last year's pole position time. Danny Asbury was on front row last season, weren't you, Danny? You know a bit about this track.
Yeah, I was on the front row. It's funny about that because I didn't think I did as much practice as, Will Levesque going into that event, but, regardless, I was able to come away with a good time. The thing is, I really thought a 103 was possible at this track. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see that this year, but, Talberg, those, to your point about Talberg not doing much quality practice, that's actually the fastest time he set through the week of testing, so that goes to show he isn't been doing that much testing under quality conditions. That's actually the second fastest time outside of Riedfeld's 104. 104.1. So, Talberg, if he can just get a little better through that final sector, he can take pole. And right, that's what he's got to do here. Talberg has to stop settling for starting second or starting third. He needs to be the fastest guy going into these races, get on pole position, and then just control the race from there. Because I think if Talberg can just get out in front of Riedfeld, he's got the racecraft to keep the Precision Motorsports driver behind him.
If you're wondering who this driver is, I don't recognise that livery at all. That's a new Core Racing livery painted by Robert Powell. As you may be aware, they introduced new liveries for the Thomas O'Cole Clio series recently, which were a big hit. And this is the new livery. It's not helping Darren Adams go much quicker through the middle part of the lap. That's the new livery. And also Heinz Petzold is on the track as well, just ahead of his Core Racing team, but well matched as always, Adams and Petzold. Always seem to be joined at the hip, along with Chris Hack as well, who's just a couple of positions ahead of them, who drives for them in the Thomas O'Cole Clio series as well. So wherever they are on track, you can also see Chris Hack as well, and they seem to be joined at the hip and entertaining battles there also well. Talking about Simon Kilo perhaps creating a distraction for Riedfeld, looking at the lap times, doesn't look like it's going to be any close enough to Riedfeld to make any hassle at all for Riedfeld, because at the moment he's on row 6. He's not even moving forward at all. He's out on track at the moment. I don't know what his split times are right now. We should be able to get a split time as he comes around the next couple of corners. But doesn't look like he's even got the speed to be able to challenge Riedfeld and interfere anyway.
I was tracking this yesterday, and
which is unusual for Kilo, sorry.
Yeah, I've tracked that he's about a second down on Kilo's time, or on Riedfeld's time through the week of testing, and I'm not sure whether or not, if it's been Kilo not just putting enough practice in, or he just simply doesn't have the pace in these sprint tires, but we've seen him very good at Simmons Plains, and
same tires, yeah. And he won at Adelaide on the sprint tires.
Yeah, remember? So he's always been slightly slower than Riedfeld, but this is just uncanny. There's 8/10 down right now on Riedfeld's pole time.
That's a huge amount, as you can see. The field is covered, by very little. And Torborg again is up in that middle sector by 0.07 this time, which is more than it was last time. That's a little bit more untidy than it was last time around the final corner, though. It's so difficult to find a corner. It's almost a momentum corner at the same. Oh, he's got it!
There it is!
He's got the pole position at the moment, so he's making Riedfeld work for it. He's making Riedfeld work, and Riedfeld has going to be kept, at least, you would say, honest here. But I would expect that Riedfeld can go quicker than that, and Torborg's going to have to find at least another half a tenth. What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, I think the pole time we were looking at is a 104.2. So I think Torborg's going to have to go quicker, because remember, Riedfeld ran at that 104.2 in the pre-practice leading up to this qualifying session here. So I do think Riedfeld has that time pretty much dead on. He can do that, not in his sleep, but once he's pushed like this, I think he's going to be able to come with that time. Talberg is going to need to shave about a tenth off that time if he really wants to hold on to this pole position. So he's got to find a way to go quicker. And a driver I want to highlight very quickly is Bruno Salsa Ferreira there in 10th position.
I was gonna mention him. We didn't get a chance.
I was checking in last week on live races, and he was actually the fastest driver through until of course some of the quicker guys got on. But Bruno's been, I believe, one of the top.
Sorry to interrupt. 2.57 for Torborg. That has laid the gauntlet down. Carry on about Bruno Salsa Ferreira, Danny, sorry.
Well, no, that's what Talberg needed to do. Shave a tenth off that time.
That's
now again,
that's his best for the season so far.
Yeah, that's an exceptional time from Talberg. Now Riedfeld, he's not only going to be pushed to beat that time, he's going to have trouble beating that time. He's going to absolutely have to ring this car around the track.
In that first sector, but that's only a couple of corners up in first sector, sorry. It's all getting excited here, Danny. Interrupted left, right, and centre, but Strauss looks like he wants a bit of piece of this action.
This is here we go. Here's Riedfeld already up on in that first sector. But Ryan, this is easily one of the most exciting quality sessions we've seen all year. Usually it's Riedfeld just sets a
disappearing. Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah. So now this seems to be very up in the air. Who's going to find the line through this course to get that pole position time? And there's Florian Strauss. He's also purple, so it looks like it's going to be Riedfeld and Strauss. But Strauss, I think he messes up through the second sector, so it's on Riedfeld to take this pole position Let's see if he can come away with it. You mentioned this final sector, Ryan, because you got to go through this quick S section, but once this final corner is what makes it or breaks it here. It's a heavy bank corner. You have to load the car in just right, get it loaded on the inside.
Wide.
He's wide, yeah, he's way too wide.
You can see the understeer in the wheels actually. It flexed as you went in, and that's going to be quite a bit slower.
Yeah, but he lost it all. He lost it all around
second place.
Yeah, lost it all around that final corner.
And Strauss didn't even improve on his own lap time despite getting close. And he's a 10th down in that first sector as well, so he's not quite got the pace, but it's more promising for Strauss. He's gone back to, we were talking, Danny, you were talking to me about how you find it difficult on the Fanatec with the belt-driven versus the motor-driven, is that correct, on the G25?
Yeah.
And the feedback, and Strauss has done the same thing. He's gone back to his G25, I think, or G27, one of the two, and did much better with it in the Thomas Cole Clio series, and I think he's back with it now for the V8 Supercars as well, you know.
Yeah, the belt-driven wheels of the Fanatic and the Thrustmaster, and not to give those guys, you know, any bad PR or anything like that, but sometimes
it's just difficult to get used to, isn't it? If you're used to one thing, it's difficult to change, and this is the kind of sport where the margins are so small.
Yes. And if something like that can just get you a little uncomfortable and get you even questioning yourself as a driver, you can take tenths off, maybe even a second out of your lap time right there. But there's also other people who I know for a fact who have said that they are a full second slower with a belt-driven wheel than they are with a gear-driven wheel, like a G25 or any of the Logitech stuff that they make. So it's definitely something to it, Ryan. And it's good to actually see Strauss back on the stuff he's used to driving with, and actually getting a bit of an incident with one of the drivers on his quali lap. But you know, he's still fourth place. Rasmus Salo is also quietly third position, and as we're riding on board with Eric Strauss. Eric, we saw a very strong run from him in Canada last time we were with the V8 series, where I think he finished 6th or 7th around there. So Strauss continues a good show for him. Kevin Angwin, usually he's Chris Hack is the top driver, not Chris Hack, but
Matthew O'Ban.
Matthew Orban, thank you. Matthew Orban is usually the top driver for DPG Motorsport, but Kevin Angwin seems to have stepped it up through the midsummer break here, and it's looking very strong. There's David Young.
Some drivers really have stepped up their pace. I mean, look at Angwin, Yunt to an extent as well. Yunt's never the best qualifier, and Bruno Salsa, Ferreira. We got Brugman as well. You know, it's just young kid. I think he's still 14, soon to be 15, I think. So you know, these guys are the future, you know, of TPS in many ways.
Yeah, because I mean, look at they're ahead of Keeloff, they're ahead of Chris Hack.
People like Hack as well, yeah.
You know, we have Matt Richards there in, I believe, 15th. Matt was absolutely exceptionally quick at Canada, but completely fell through in quali. Was so disappointed with his performance in quali at Canada that, you know, it took him a long time to get over how he performed there. So he's come out here at Oran Park, much more of a difficult track to drive in these V8s, and so far he's not able to get exactly the type of pace he was at Canada. And we're seeing Rietveld go purple through, I believe, the middle sector here as he's going through.
The second sector split's coming up here. This is the crucial sector, and he's still purple. Look at that.
Yeah, close. So remember, it's now, can he get this final corner again?
Oh, no, he's messed it up on the entry.
Right there.
Oh, he's sorted it out. He's got a beautiful apex, actually, in the end. So, right out wide as well. As it comes to the line, no.
Wow, so
but Torbo was so quick through that final sector. Remember, he wasn't that far up going into the final sector, and then, suddenly, boom, he was ahead again. So that shows how quick Tolberg is in that final sector. It shows how slow he is in that first sector, because not everybody, but Strauss and Rietveld are both going faster regularly in that first sector. So Tolberg, in theory, does have a little bit in hand here, and it's not right on the ragged edge of that pole position time right now. And I'm sure Rietveld is tearing his hair out over it. He's back into the pits now, going to go out for another run. There we are, 2 minutes 45 to go. This is his last opportunity, quite frankly. Well, maybe if he messes up on this run, he can get back to the pits quickly and come out once again. But he's running out of time, and I think obviously he'll be happy fairly happy with the front row, but he'll be fuming if he misses out on pole position here, considering how fast he thinks he's been, or other people think he's been, leading up to this event. And nobody was in 3/10 of his time, and suddenly Torbo's gone. Hey, you see, I've been practicing offline, and nobody knows my actual pace. I've just been doing race pace online, and lulled everybody into a false sense of security, as he so often does, Danny. I mean, not just in specific races or specific sessions, but in championships. He lulls them into thinking, oh, Torbo's only 4th, he's only 3rd, and then suddenly, oh, well, he's still only 5 points behind me in the championship. So, you know, that's a trait of Torbo that we see time and time again, as Strawn usurps Strauss on that second run.
Very nice, yeah. Eric, I remember we just talked how he did in Canada, so now again, ooh, he's getting a bit
he almost
sideways
gets
there.
tangled up. And that's what we was talking about, the difficulty of that first corner complex, how difficult it is to get the car in there, because you roll in and then you have to get on the brakes and make sure you don't lock up, because if you lock up you go straight on. If you're carrying too much speed you go straight on. If you don't turn enough you go straight on. If you put a wheel on the grass on the outside you spin. it's such a difficult, demanding zone.
It's one of the scariest corners we go to all season, because especially once you get in the race and you have cars around you, you realize...
Let's go forward to this corner. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, Kevin Brett, obviously, was just in fifth before Strawn jumped him, but here we go. You have to load this car and then get on the brakes. You have to set the car up almost to be exclusively...
And there you go. That's how difficult the corner is. You miss the apex time after time there.
Yeah, and then it goes wide there. So I mean, you almost have to set. You really have to set the car up so you can control
the
car
horn going off at the same corner.
Home into the barrier, loses his front bumper. So
there's just discussing that.
Yeah, perfectly illustrated how hard that corner is to get through. So I mean, you really have to commit to it, and you have to make sure the suspension is set up for this corner, because if the car does not want to get on the brakes while cornering, you're absolutely done to this corner. So you'll never get able to get loaded in. Like Kevin actually does that very well, stays right on line there. And no, this check
there we go.
A 4-1 takes pole position. Unbelievable by Repo.
He wasn't purple in any of those sectors, unlike previously.
You know, and
he just came out of nowhere. And that's with 20 seconds to go in the session. Total's on track. He's going to get one more run in. What do you think, Danny? Yes or no?
I think that's no. I don't think Talbert's got that type of pace in. But you know, this quali session was starting to smack of Canada, where Jeffrey Riefer waited to the last second to surpass Eunice Ravio for pole position with a last second run that saw Riefer just clip Ravio for the top spot. This time he does it with about 20 seconds ago. So we'll see if Talbert
definitely wasn't waiting though, was he? He was fretting. You know, he was trying to get the pole position desperately as Sarlo improves quite a bit. And he has now a comfortable 0.2 of a second over the drivers behind him, and Talbot's off the track. So Rietveld has pole position once again here today. Congratulations to him in the final few seconds there. He has that pole position. But usually we see Talbot is faster in the races than he is in qualifying, and that is a worrying sign, I would say, for Rietveld.
The only issue is that this is obviously a sprint race, and Rietveld is so strong at the beginning of his stint. He just absolutely tries to pull away from everyone. Meanwhile, Talbot, he's been known to take it easy. If Rietveld can get that gap, I'm not sure if Talbot's going to have enough time to get back to Rietveld, because this is obviously not a longer race like we're used to in the V8. So, I mean, Talbot, he's going to have to change up his strategy a little bit. He needs to push early, needs to really bother Rietveld to see if he can force a mistake out of Precision Driver, and then maybe Talbot can get in control of this race.
Right, we'll be back with a rundown of the grid in just a minute or so's time.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be #1 on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Well, welcome back to the Virtual V8 Supercars. We're about to go into the race session here. Drivers are just in their preliminary warm-up. And as you can see, we are sponsored by GamePod.co.uk. And they are the longest-running manufacturer of racing rigs in the world, Danny.
Yeah, I mean, GamePod, they've joined up with the series in 2012. They are still with us here. Ash from GamePod, they've been great. Obviously, they've branched out to other leagues within the TPS, including Tom Uncle Clio Series and Virtual Mini Challenge. So it's great to have such a, I guess, a prestigious a sponsor with Touring Pro Series. They're even offering a GamePod GT2 race rig for the winner of this series. So, I mean, again, that's what makes this this title fight between Rietveld and Tallberg that much more interesting, to see who's going to be able to get this top-of-the-line rig. And, you know, when you have a top-line sponsor like GamePod on board, then, yeah, you get that extra incentive for your top drivers to push like that. And it makes it good for us in the commentary booth, and it makes it great for you viewers out there watching. So, I mean, thank GamePod to add just that much more excitement to the Touring Pro Series, and it's great to have them on board.
I'm not sure, yes, but it has much motivation to win one of these GamePod rigs. He already has 2.
He keeps a collection of them. He keeps a collection of them.
He already has 2. One from his 2012 V8 Supercar win, and one from the Virtual Clio Series 3, which was the precursor to the Tom Cole Clio Series, for those who are thinking, well, this Clio Series. The Tom Cole Clio Series is basically the 4th season of our Clios. And he won that in Season 3 after Toby Davis crashed in the penultimate race of the season, needlessly, one would say. But he has 2 of them. So yeah, I'm not sure he's pushing for it.
I think Tallberg, he's trying to collect enough so he can go in business for himself and then, you know, be GamePod's rival. So, Ash, you better watch yourself, okay?
It's like a warehouse of them.
Exactly.
But remember, these things are worth 1,600 euros. You know, they're not cheap at all. And that seat you see in the picture there, that is the GT2 rig. And you may think, oh, it's just a seat with a few things. That seat is an FIA-approved official racing seat. It's not a copy like you see from many of the manufacturers who are a bit cheaper and a bit more frugal, like Ubuntu, for example. You see with GamePod, they're all FIA-approved actual racing seats. So if you want a simulation of your, you want to get into your game and have an actual simulation and be in the mode of it. These are the things to have, absolutely the things to have. And the professional drivers who get into them think, oh, this is great, this feels like I'm in an actual car because it encompasses you, holds you in, hugs you. So those are the way to go. GamePod.co.uk, by the way, if you want to check them out. They are a UK company, but they do shipping worldwide at the moment. I think it's free shipping to UK and Europe and 50% off to the US and Australia as well at the moment. So take advantage of that. And also, they also have their own Facebook page, which is just search for GamePod on Facebook, and they have special offers on there also. So check out those, and of course, don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube, and you'll catch up on all the latest action. We're going to quickly run through the grid here. We're not left ourselves much time there after all that time of talking about GamePod. But the grid, here we have it. First row of Rietveld and Torborg, second row Sarlo and Strawn. Third row, Strauss and Brents. 7th and 8th is Hulme and Angwin. 9th and 10th is Junt and Bruno Salso Ferreira, with the 6th row of Hack, Brugman, Adams, Kilo, Petzold, Johns, Richards and Palmer. 10th row of Ortiz and Rob Taplin, while the 11th row is Ockerklint and Rosemeyer, with the 12th row Navarro and Bass, and the last of the runners, 25th spot, qualifying, was Jeff Dobbing. So 25 runners here at this track. That's plenty for this kind of circuit. And that was a fascinating qualifying session. What's your predictions for the race, Danny?
Well, first off, I think you just broke a record for fastest grid run down there, Ryan. 25, that's very impressive.
I had no choice at all, then.
I'm actually going to go Tallberg. I think it's very good. It's a good sign for Tallberg supporters that he's on the front row, was actually your pole sitter before Rietveld doing an absolutely smashing lap. So I think we're seeing maybe Tallberg now kind of edge his pace up and realize, okay, it's championship season. It's time to get this done. I expect Jasper Tallberg to come out here tonight and get a race win. I really do think Tallberg is the man to beat.
So, race win for Jesper Torborg tonight. But I'm going to go with the same conclusion, actually, in fact, and go with Jesper Torborg as well. As the drivers are now sent off on their formation lap. Helps if I press the right button so you can actually see those drivers. My apologies. And there's Rietveld heading the field around the formation lap. Some drivers approach this in different ways. Some like to just tootle around like Rietveld's doing right now and just calm the nerves. Other drivers really like to work the car. You see a few of the drivers weaving around the track. How did you like to approach the formation lap, Danny?
Well, anytime I do a formation lap, I just want my major concern is to get the brakes heated up. So I just trying to smash on the power, get on the brakes, get them heated up. But I know Toby Davis, who still is still, you know, we haven't seen Toby in a few rounds, but he's completely against really doing anything with the car, especially these V8s with the sprint tires on the formation lap, because he's saying guys who swerve around, who heat the tires up, you're just wearing them out because these tires are so finicky that they need to be cold as long as possible. So some drivers completely do not think you should do anything with these cars on the formation laps. But you know, obviously we're seeing Strawn doing a little bit of weaving, but you're seeing, not generally speaking from the guys up front, not too much weaving, because that's generally the consensus with these cars. We're seeing Young swerve around a little bit, Bruno Salsa go, but you're seeing it as we go a little behind the grid. The guys are going to do this a little bit more to get the tires a little bit more active. But generally at the front, you keep these guys stay very steady, very status quo.
Just a word on the drivers who are, you know, Davies is not here today because he is racing in supercars at, I can't remember where he's racing. I think it's Silverstone where he's racing at for supercars. So the British Supercar Championship, best of luck to him. Kelvin van der Linde is driving in the Volkswagen Scirocco R Cup in support of the DTM at Norris Ring in his thing. And Stoffel van Dorner is driving a selection of McLaren racing cars at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. He was out yesterday in the 1974 F1 car of Emerson Fittipaldi, which won the championship in '74, and today he was out in the MP423. So different cars there for him. We're about to start the race here. Rietveld, we are on board with the pole. Look on the left there. There is the light. Hold a long time, and away we go. Rietveld with a decent start there. Torborg also with a good start, and it means that they go into the first couple of corners in the order that they qualified in at the moment. Strawn got a great start, but Salo's back to fifth. So Salo from third back to fifth. Oh, that's on the grass. That's Salo. That's Salo off on his debut for THR. There he is, rejoining back on the track. Oh, just in front of Taplin, who just about manages not to collect him as he rejoins. And he's now, where is he? He's way back in 20th position as he slides straight down the inside of Ockercliffe. And the rest of the field merges their way through. Not sure what happened there at the start with Salo. Let's try and see if we can catch up on exactly what happened there. Let's go into a swingman view for you, just to give you the best view. Oh, it's Holm on his inside who runs wide and just touches him off the track. So Holm there was to blame really for Salo going off the track, as he tries to fight his way now past Richards. But back at the front of the field, Rietveld still leads from Torborg.
Not a good start for Salo's THR career, but you know, Adrian Holm, one of the guys who made out as a beneficiary of that scuffle there. He's now up to fourth. Eric Strawn up to third. Remember, Strawn was third last year here, had a great start as well, and so he really likes this track. And it's been a key factor to him that, you know, unlike with many tracks where the pace has increased, it's kind of stayed the same here as compared to last year at Oran Park. So I mean, Strawn, he was one of the fastest guys here last year, is again one of the quicker guys, and he's turning that into great places on the grid so far third. But it looks like Holm is the fastest of the two drivers, and he's leading a contingent of Strauss, Brents, Jan, and even Kilo up to 8th position. So I mean, maybe Rietveld needs to start looking at his rearview mirror, because it seems like Kilo is coming.
Well, Brent Young with a good qualifying session and a good start this race now also as well. He's in 7th spot, so he'll be loving that. The star of qualifying, Brugman, Angwin and Bruce Sousa Ferreira, they're all together on the track. Brugman with a good start, Angwin with not so good a start, and Ferreira, I think, has also lost one position on track as it stands at the moment. Andy John's had a good start to this race, though. He's right up there. He's got a new livery for this round, as he seems to do every single round we see him. And that's a graffiti-inspired livery from Andy Johns. Never stops tinkering with his car. Maybe if he tinkered with his setup as much as he tinkered with his paintwork, it'd be even quicker. But obviously, we love the artwork that he comes out with. As we see, Hack and Palmer, two teammates here, doing well. They're in 13th and 14th. Well, and we've not actually got Eric Tveit here today. Just thinking that he's not around today. He should be here, but he's unfortunately not been able to make it, obviously. And but these two are holding up the ICR, the ICR Racing banner at the moment, along, of course, with Eric Strawn, who's in 3rd spot.
Well, Andy John's absolutely terrific to get up to 12th position, but you know, Lee Palmer had a tremendous run at Canada. I believe was 11th or just clipped the top 10 and got 10th, but Lee Palmer was obviously his best run of the year at Canada, and again he's looking very strong, sitting there in 14th position. So Lee, he seems to have maybe turned the corner somewhat in this championship. Let's see if he can now challenge Chris Hack, who's riding right behind. We're on board with Chris Hack now, watching
shots as
Lee Palmer. Yes,
you're
seeing just how menacing these V8 cars look once they get behind it that way. It looks like Lee Palmer is really sniffing for an opening, as now there's a little bit of a gap that forms on this straightaway. And so now we're seeing a nice little battle form here at midfield. Rasmus Salo up to 17th. Remember, he fell back to 20th after that.
Oh, he's off the track again!
Who was that? Oh no!
Oh, he's already saved it. He's got sideways. Let's watch that on a replay quickly as he comes now out of the final corner. We'll fast forward this for you so we get to the heater of the action. And again at the first corner, of course, this time around, nobody around him, just pushing a bit too hard and runs wide. Manages, that's the keys that they're almost there at that corner. Get all four wheels off. Don't get two wheels off because you've got differing grips. Get all four wheels off, and then you've got no grip on both sides of the car, rather than on opposite sides of the car.
Yeah,
That bridge is where we've seen many big accidents over the years out of turn one.
Yeah, the Salo, it looks like that car is, it looks like a complete quality setup that Salo's got on that thing, because you're seeing that the car is a little stiff loading into the corner and then wants to break away from him. It seems like he just does not have the out-and-out control you need to have under race conditions. So I'm not even sure if it's that much of Adrian Holmes' fault that pushed Salo wide like that. You're seeing guys just wild. That's something you really don't want to do. You do not want to touch the grass on that corner there. But Talbot seems to control the car very well. And you see Talbot, he sets his car up so well for the race conditions that even if he makes a slight mistake like that, he's not going to lose complete control like you're seeing with some of the other drivers like Rasmus Salo. So it's definitely something drivers want to keep in mind with these V8 Supercars. So we'll see, though, if Talbot has enough pace in that machine to now challenge Rietveld, who's about 8/10 up the road from him.
Well, just we were talking about how quickly this race will go. We're already on to lap 5.
Yeah, lap 5, and
it's flying along.
Yeah, I believe we're looking at a pit stop from anywhere between lap 17 to lap 21. That's pretty much the window we're going to be working with. Obviously, a 39-lap race. So, I mean, guys, they're free to play around when you have a structure like this. Only 39 laps. Only with these sprint tires. The sprint tires only going to give you a good 10 laps on it before it becomes a very much a hassle to keep the car on the road. So, I mean, we'll see. Because obviously, Talbrae's made his name with his tire conservation. He doesn't, but unfortunately today, he doesn't have that much time to really make that tire conservation work for him like he's done in the past.
No, but the difference between the races where Rietveld has been quick at this season so far is he has just pulled away, hasn't he? Melbourne, Watkins Glen, Montreal, Simmons Plains. He's pulled away in the opening few laps, hasn't he? In all those races, built up, a nice 3-second lead in the first, 4 or 5 laps, and then just held it for the rest of the race, just, slightly extended it throughout the race. Nice, easy race for him. Of course, we say it's nice and easy, it's not quite as easy as that. You have to keep the car on the track and keep going very quickly indeed. It looks easy. But in terms of he's not been scrapping for wins. Here today, it's lap 6, he has 0.8 of a second lead. That's a completely different story, and something completely different, I think, for Rietveld this season so far. I don't think he's ever led a race in these early stages where someone has just kept up with him and kept pace. Normally, somebody has been ahead of him or he's dropped back.
And then
the
look
fastest
at
lap of the
this.
race for Talbot, just reinforcing that point.
Right on cue, Talbot sets the fastest lap of the race. I mean,
I love it when a plan comes together.
That was only 6/10 down on Rietveld. And you're right, Ryan. Usually Rietveld gets a 2nd or 2-second or 3-second lead to start off these events. Now he's got Talbot breathing right down his nose here to begin this event. I mean,
his nose?
His nose. You know what? There's a bad reference.
It's breathing down his nose.
Breathing down his nose.
Well, technically he is breathing down his nose, but I don't think he's actually breathing down Rietveld's nose, because that would be weird.
Breathing on his neck. We'll go with that. Okay. So it looks like now Rietveld got something a little extra to think about as this race develops. We'll see now once these tires kind of fall off a little bit if Talbot can then take it to another level and then get his car alongside Rietveld. But I'm very impressed here by Lars Brugman in 8th position. Him and Jan are both up so far.
And Kilo has dropped back to 11th. Sorry, that's why Brew is in 8th, because Kilo's back to 11th.
Yeah, it seems like we have a nice little battle pack here. I mean, if we had Eric Strawn, so far he's held on to 3rd position, so that's very good on him as well. I mean, Kevin Angwin there in 9th position, just tucked in behind Lars Brugman. So, I mean, it looks like these guys, I mean, it's hard to overtake on this track line. So, I mean, guys like Kilo up there, they're really not going to want to make mistakes and fall down the grid like that, because it's going to be very tough for them to make that up. So, we'll see how that develops as this race progresses.
These drivers that we're seeing, watching on track right now, as Rivel did a quite slow lap time there, 5.1, it's a little bit slower than he would want to be. Brugman, Angwin and Ferreira, they were fighting for a 20th, 22nd, 24th earlier in the season. And then suddenly, they've all jumped forward. All three of them have gone, you know what, I quite like it in the top 10, let's go up there, lads. So they've all kind of banded together and dragged each other forward, and that's one of the key elements of Touring Pro Series I found. In my time, obviously, I've always organised Touring Pro Series, but in my time, you get groups of drivers and they'll drag each other forward and improve their competitiveness and improve the competitiveness of the race as a whole as well.
Yeah, and let's be honest, some of the guys who are constants within the top 10, they kind of get burnt out. It doesn't mean as much to get up that high. To these guys, Lars Brugman, Kevin Angwin, David,
they will be loving it.
Yes, they absolutely having the time of their life right now. They're inside the top 10. They know where they're at right now. They know they're in those broadcast watchable positions, so to speak. And they're going to be enjoying every lap of themselves right now.
Absolutely, and if these drivers... Oh,
no!
Oh, I think he can hear us. Oh, commentators, going to blame Danny for that one. But he's going to get going quickly, I think. He's just struggling out the gravel. As he gets going, he's not going to lose too much time, but lots of positions. He was in 8th. He's now back to 17th.
I was afraid
as Richards is challenged as well, but Brugman, I think he has the speed to just pick his way through a couple of these, actually. But now you're in the traffic. As you said before, it's very difficult to overtake. We're not seeing too many drivers overtake, as you can see. They're all line astern because none of them get past each other, because this kind of track is narrow, it's got camber on the inside of many corners, so you can't really just stick it down the inside.
Yes,
and it's all winding, and not many hard braking zones. The one hard braking zone you have is into turn 1, but of course that's right in the middle. It's also a corner at the same time, so
it's suicide. It's suicide.
Yeah.
Where you want to overtake is probably around the final corner on the track, that heavy bank left-hander. That's where you really want to get the car loaded and underneath.
But look
your
how
opponent.
dangerous it is here, though.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
And it's on hill, which off the braking zone once again.
we just passed someone who's off the track, I think. There.
Yes, Brugman's gone up a position, and
it's Hack. Chris Hack. Oh,
Hack
wow.
on the track. Oh, and he's got in the wall as well. Oh, that is a bad place to go in. You hit the wall very, very hard there, and you can see how skew with his car is now as well. As a result of that, he's going to go straight into the pits. Going to have to go straight into the pits. He's leaning to one side. He almost... Oh, look at the car. That is destroyed. Can we get that on replay, maybe? Let's rewind for you, see if we can see what happened. This is the area of the track that Egbeer went off in 2011 in that Oh, he's right in the middle of this pack, look. But Kilo is holding up. Salo had got past him. There's Johns as well in the action. Oh, and Johns has hit the back of Hack, because everyone in front of him are going, look at this. This is what's happened, look. Kilo's been going quite slow through there, so Salo's checked up, Hack's checked up, and of course Johns can't see that everybody else has and then straight off the track, no grip at all. You might think, oh, that looks weird, he's got no grip. No, but that's what happens. Once you're off, and that's it. Hack in the wall, and that's his race ruined. Of course, he has got the second race to go back into, and I think he's in the pits. There he is, in last position now. Sorry to interrupt you there, Danny, but that's... Yeah, I didn't even notice myself that car was off track, and it was bright pink, so thank you for noticing that. But that's unfortunate for Chris Hack, who's really enjoying a good run actually at the moment.
Yeah, right in a nice battle pack. He was probably really enjoying himself there, but unfortunately, Andy, you really can't fault the guy for that, because like you said, Ryan, he simply couldn't see the other drivers checking up just slightly through that corner, and unfortunately, he went in the Hack. Hack pretty much race over at this point, and now we're picking up with this battle. And of course, it's almost a flat-out
corner, isn't it? If you ride a board here with Greenville, you hear the throttle just dip ever so slightly as you go, and also as well as you rise as you go over the crest. But it's pretty much a flat corner, so you don't expect anyone to slow down appreciably through that.
That corner, when you're in a pack like that, you might have a slight lift, but obviously those guys checked up more than what Andy was expecting through there, and that's what caused some of that. But some of the leaders just making it through Ethan Bass. Andy Johns continues to.
Simon Killer's having a shocker of a race. This is the driver, remember, who has many TPS wins. He has 2 already in the V8 Supercars. He qualified in 12th place, 11th place. He got up to 8th on the opening, the start of the race. But now he's back to 14th. He's struggling so badly. And there's a crash apparently between Brugman, Palmer and Richards, according to Optimum Motorsport team boss Bradley Vanian as well. I don't know if you can catch that on your screen there, Danny, and talk us through what happened. But apparently there's been a crash between Brugman, Palmer and Richards. And there, that makes sense because here's Brugman in the pits in 21st. Palmer's back in 22nd. Oh, look at Palmer's car.
Oh, that's a shame. Remember,
Richards as well is in the pits also. So some battered cars here. Palmer's into the pits also.
Well, 5 minutes ago, this was perhaps Lars' best race in his TPS career. Now it's just completely gone to shame
I think
here.
we just don't talk about it anymore. We just don't, you know, he doesn't exist. But we've done a bad thing, Danny. We've done a
we're
bad
sorry,
thing.
Lars. We're very sorry about all
We're
this.
very sorry, Lars. And I've also spoken to his dad before as well, and I'm very sorry to his dad also.
Yeah, we're sorry. We're sorry for the whole
A big
Brugman
story though,
family.
Danny.
You know,
Strauss is back to 7th. Strauss is back to 7th. He's only just ahead. This battle between Angwin and Ferreira.
I was watching him against Ethan Bass, who he was lapping not too long ago. I think Ethan held him up just a little bit, and well, maybe it really threw Strauss off. Because now he's falling away.
Well, he was in front of Brent, remember? So he's
so he was in
he's
fifth,
lost about 8 seconds.
Yeah, and now, you know, I expected Strauss to get past Holmes and Strawn, but yeah, now he's down to 7th, and I wonder if he's got any type of damage on that car, because yeah, he's about a 6-second gap to even David Young in front, so
looks like I'm going to guess at a spin at the first corner for that one, because there's no damage on the car, is there? And he's only lost 8 seconds, which means he's probably just gone off the track slightly and, you know, rejoined, so I'm going to guess at 8 seconds. Talking about Sala, by the way, of course, he qualified in 3rd spot, and is now back up to 10th, having dropped to 20th. So he's been, apart from that little off-bit that we saw, he's been very calm indeed, actually, in fact, and has gone through the pack methodically and trying not to get involved in any of the hassle. And now he's at the head of that big pack we saw earlier. We had Johns and Kilo and the 2 core racing drivers, Petzold and Adams. And Salo is now marching towards Bruno Salles Ferreira and Kevin Angwin, I would say, within the next 6 or 7 laps. Just before the next pit stop, he'll be right with them. And they'll know they're in a race when Salo catches up to them, that's for sure.
Yeah, because see, the
Kilo's been into the pits, so that shows he's just not looking after his tyres at all.
Yeah, I noticed about Kilo, once the core racing drivers got to him, that Kilo was absolutely all over the place on the ragged edge with that precision machine. But, you know, about Salo, the good news about him is that he didn't sustain any damage falling through the grid like he did. So, I mean, that car is still fully healthy. Obviously, once he gets a new set of tires on that thing, he'll be ready to go back and get even more places in the field. But look at Tallberg, only 3/10 down on Jeffrey Rietveld. And, you know, we talked about this, obviously, before the race starts. It just feels that Tallberg knows what time it is. He's just better than he's been the first half of this championship. And I really get the sense that this is his race to lose. Even though he's trailing Rietveld, I really like Tallberg to find a way to stick a move at exactly the right point and get around to take this race win. It's going to be very interesting to see if Rietveld can keep the 2012 champ behind.
Remember, Torborg is the reigning champion, and he has won 5 championships in the TouringProSeries, and he hasn't done that by losing his head, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And right now, I just get the impression, having, you know, I've watched Torborg in, you know, well over 100 races now. He's done the TPS, something like 140, 150 races he's done, Torborg now, and you know, you get to know a driver's style, whether he's on the limits, whether he, you know, he just doesn't have the pace. But this is a confident drive. No, he knows he's got the pace, and he just bided his time behind Rietveld, waiting. Look, I've got the pace. I've got a couple of tenths in hand, Jeffrey. Let's see what you've got. I'm going to stick behind you, and then later on, I'll know when to make my move, and I'll disappear and win this race.
Yeah,
that's the impression I'm getting right now. I don't know about you, Danny.
Oh, I'm on board with you with that, because I know Rietveld, he made a comment after qualifying. Usually Rietveld would say, you know, thanks, you know, everyone congratulates him on his pole position. This time he says, you know, wow, that was really tight, you know, that was really close, you know. Even he's feeling the pressure of Tallberg and his challenge from behind here. I mean...
and it's wonderful for the championship, Danny. It's wonderful to see.
Usually V8 Supercars doesn't see, because obviously it's being such a long championship, doesn't see the most intense title fights, but I think we're in for a treat here with the remaining 4 races of the season, Ryan. I think this is pretty much either one of these guys can go either way.
Absolutely, and then remember, this is the season where we've had the most races in the Virtual V8 Supercars with the double headers. We'll end up with 13 races in the season, 12 races we had in 2011, 10 in 2012, and in 2012. I mean, it was a quite close fight between Strauss, Lamo, and Crooks, and Strauss just decided to walk away with it in the final few races of the season. And this is probably the tightest we've seen, actually. And it's great to see these 2 fabulous drivers and fabulous teams, remember, as well, Danny, to be so close on track. If you look back, you know, obviously everyone knows about Precision from the FSR days. Well, anybody who's watched FSR will know about them anyway. But Precision Motorsports, you know, they've won, is it 3 in a row now with Bono Huis in the Drivers' Championship, and you know they're cleaning up in the lower championships in FSR also as well. And they've obviously seen the potential of the TPS to do well. They've put together a touring car team, as it were, and they've brought on board Jack Leith, of course, was already driving for them, and he decided to form this team up. You got Jeffrey across from FSR, and he got a bit bored of single-seater racing, he was saying, and he wanted to try touring cars, and here he is doing fabulously. And they recruited well as well, haven't they? They've recruited the volatile drivers, one would say, of Kilo and Sorensen, and the more mature Lauritsen. All Danish drivers, all very good friends, all karters, and all very, very, very quick. And they've also recruited now Monroe and Waring into their team. So, you know, they've gone from being, you know, just a kind of here, and they've got Calamise, of course, who drives in the and Torborg in. Wow, I didn't expect that at all.
I was just about to talk about this. We opened up in that pit window, lap 17. I was going to make a comment about it, but remember, lap 17 to lap 21 where we can expect these pit stops. Torborg, and I was wondering if he was going to go in early to try to undercut Rietveld.
We've got 39 laps in this race, remember?
Here's the thing, Ryan, and this I was about to make the point that, you know, Torborg is so good on his tire wear that if he went in very early, yeah, that means I don't think that would affect him that much. He knows how to keep these tires on this car very long. You know what? Some drivers would be absolutely suicide what he's doing here. Jasper Torborg can make this work, and if he gets this to work, he's going to come out with about a 1.5 seconds advantage even over Rietveld if Rietveld has to come in, if Rietveld stays out a few more laps. I mean, what Rietveld's got to do essentially now, he's going to have to come in early to keep his lead, and if that happens, he's not going to be as good on the warm tires later on the stint as Torborg is. So I think what Torborg has done effectively is he's making this fight go on his turn. He wants it to be a tire conservation battle. So what he does by going in early, he makes Rietveld now race him on that worn tires, like which we're going to get 20 laps from now. So it's going to be very interesting.
I think Rietveld may be into the pits because he's just a 108.2. Yes, he's into the pits as well. Yeah. So he's matching it, isn't he? He's doing if anyone's watched Formula 1 in the recent past, you just match them. It doesn't matter if you've got less tire or whatever, you just have to match them if you're at the front of the field. And that's the case here.
Yes, and the interesting thing about
Torborg had lovely clear air there, which is noticing as well. I want to make that quick point. Yeah, and everybody's in early on here. I'm not understanding this because it's 39 laps. I thought lap 20 would be. Everyone's pitting at the end of lap 18, which is unusual.
The thing is, I remember Torborg pitting in.
And Strauss had a wonderful pit stop, and Rietveld's had a poor pit stop. It was about 10 seconds was Rietveld's pit stop then. And here comes Torborg. I think that he's just behind Ockerklint. And he's going to beat Rietveld. He is. There he goes.
There it is.
And that's a lovely gap in fact, actually. A couple of seconds almost.
Beautiful move there by Torborg. And I was wondering, because we saw kind of a sloppy pit entry from Torborg, almost even ding the wall, it looked like, from the broadcast. But it looks like he loses nothing right there. Gets a 0.5 second advantage on, or actually, we're not actually sure what the advantage is so far. Maybe even
0.9, I think it is. 0.9.
Yeah, so wow. This is a
big turnaround in one lap.
This is trouble for Rietveld. I mean, he needs Torborg to be held up by this lap traffic. Well, not lap traffic, but the guys out in front of Torborg. We're seeing Jonathan Ockerklint, which is going to be an absolute nightmare for Torborg.
This is the driver everybody, I'm afraid, dreads lapping. Never mind overtaking for position right now. And this is harming Torborg, and Rietveld's going to be right there. I mean, it's absolutely fine that Ockerklint is in the way.
He's running his own race.
He's running very well, in fact, actually, considering. And, you know, oh, there we go. He doesn't make it easy at all, doesn't Jonathan? But he's getting plenty of airtime as a result for his team, and he flashes Rietveld past also well, which doesn't help Torborg in the slightest, and he goes into the pits. But Ockerklint there, I think he just apologised a little bit, but as we said just a minute ago, complete within his rights is Ockerklint, because he's on track race position. He has a race to run also, and he can't disrespect. Other drivers can't disrespect him. Just get out of the way. Andy Johnson looks like he's going to get out of the way here. And this is exciting stuff as they carve their way through the traffic. This isn't traffic, this is for position. But of course, they're not in the same race. And John's just sensibly got out of the way, and that didn't cost him much time or the leaders. And Rietveld is right at the back bumper.
See, here's the thing. I mean, obviously, Ockerklint is completely within his rights to fight for that position. The thing is, you know, Ockerklint has such a history of holding up people while being loud that people are leery of what he's doing out on track there. And my argument against kind of fighting the leaders that way, even though it's core position, is that, look, okay, obviously these guys are on another level. Even when I'm being a lap guy, you just move aside because, you know, you're harming your own race in doing it, because obviously Torborg had to almost move Jonathan to the side a little bit. And what happens if Ockerklint loses control and is into the wall? That hurts his. So you're not really helping anyone in fighting for those positions. So, and we're seeing obviously both these guys made out okay, but obviously now Tallberg lost completely that advantage he did. Now Rietveld's right on the back of him. Maybe this is advantage Rietveld because we know Rietveld is stronger to begin these stints, so Tallberg's going to have to really work hard to keep Rietveld behind.
Remember how difficult it is to overtake on this track.
Yes. So I obviously Tallberg is still with the advantage here, but you know Rietveld's going to look for any opportunity he can to get
Look at the suspension flexes come up over the top of the hill as well, just bouncing up and down. Would not like to be a damper at this track. Remember, this track is laser scanned, so this is.
Oh, David! God, he just loses it going to pit lane. He's blocking
the pits. Look, he's blocking the pits for Angwin. He's blocking the pits for Angwin, and these. This is absolutely disastrous.
This is terrible.
And Angwin just has to say, "Oh, I'm gonna have to get going," because Young could be stuck there for another minute or so, and that has ruined Angwin's race. Angwin has been stuck there for a good, 30 seconds. And Angwin's now, that is terrible. Where is Yunt?
He's still there.
This is, I would say it's comical if it wasn't for the fact Angwin got held up.
This is actually a moment.
Yunt is destroying his car, having to reverse backwards and forwards.
Right, this is actually one of the rare moments in sim racing where actual safety car would actually be very appropriate, because that was an unsafe moment on track, and we couldn't really do anything. Usually in sim racing, it doesn't matter that a car is destroyed or there's debris on the track. That was actually debris right there, where we could actually use the caution, because Kevin was really he was really caught out there. Now he's got to go around. His race is pretty much took a big
well, at least
shot there.
At least he's in the lead of the race.
Yeah, there he goes. At least he's got that. We'll give Kevin a little extra air time to make up.
He's going to lead the lap here, so that's he's going to lead 2 laps, in fact, actually, Kevin Angwin. So that would be something on his CV, leading laps in the Virtual V8 Supercars. Young did manage to turn off his damage. Let's hope Angwin remembers to turn off his damage. Well, is he going to come into the pits this time around? No, he's not. He's saying, I don't trust that pit entry anymore. I'm just going to carry on.
Yeah, he's got to be a bit frustrated at this point, yeah. You know, I was going to make the comment about David, because remember, David Young was up to 5th place before the pit stop.
Now it's 16th.
He was having an exceptional run, and I was wondering if David... Tallberg still holds off Rietveld, but
Ooh.
They look pretty menacing there, but it looks like Tallberg's going to be able to hold it off. My point about Yunt was that Yunt's been known to go very long on his pit strategy. Usually goes far past what everyone else is doing on that first stint. And I was wondering if he should have come in earlier, considering that he was in 5th place and really a contender in this race. But again, he goes on, and that actually went terrible for him. No one could have predicted that he gets stuck in the actual pit entrance like that. So
we've had all kinds of drama here today at Oran Park, I have to be said.
Yunt's going to have a hard time living that one, Jack, because we definitely caught that one live.
That's up there with an Asbury and an egg beer, unfortunately.
It was. That was one of the moments right there. I can see that one coming.
If you cock up your pit entry from now on, it's called doing a Yunt.
It's called doing a Yunt, yep.
There we go. But we talk about this battle at the front of the field between Rietveld and Jesper Tallberg. Look who has caught up to them as Rietveld goes to the lead once again. Oh, contact there. Oh, that is so dangerous in that part of the course. You have to be at least 3 quarters alongside to make that work. And Tallberg knew that, and so did Rietveld, and they just got away with it. That was very dangerous indeed. Let's go on board with Tallberg and see there was Rietveld almost alongside, not quite though. But Strawn has caught right up to these guys because they've been battling though. It's only a second now, and Strawn, if anything happened between these boys, he could find himself in the lead.
Well, Eric, remember he completely fell off from the leaders last year when he started 3rds, but he's right. You're right, Ryan. He's right there on these on Rietveld and Tallberg. He's right there to pick up if these guys now make a mistake, because that was almost suicidal what Jeffrey did into the first corner. You definitely want to work out a move right around here. Just about
thought better of it, didn't he?
He pulled out the last second.
No.
Yeah. That could have been massive trouble right there.
There's got to be a fine line between trying to pressure out the other driver and actually going for a move. And there he is, just weaved a little bit there, just to say to Tallberg, look, I'm here. I might have a go.
Jeffries, he realizes what position he's in. He knows the longer these guys stay out here, the bigger advantage Tallberg has on these worn tires. So I know Jeffries thinking he's got to get in front right now before we get before we get into lap 30 or so, because then that's going to be. I think Tallberg's just going to take it once the tires are worn for both these drivers. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting here, but easily
it's almost a chess game right now, in fact.
The best fight we've seen for the lead, for a win of this race, I think we've got all season. So I mean, And that, it's very interesting that you point out Eric Strawn is right there. I mean, he's got to be absolutely thrilled to be in this fight for the lead. I mean, we pretty much got a 3-car fight to see who's going to take down this race win here at Oran Park.
Yeah, I don't think Rietveld and Torborg, apart from the pit stop, have been separated by more than a second at any point whatsoever during this race. They've been joined by a piece of elastic. I've been using my my hacks to make sure we get an exciting race here, but here comes Rietveld. He's got this slipstream once again, but he's just too far behind to get up alongside. The straight is just too short to make any moves. So let's talk about the winners from the pit stops. So this lead, just watch into this next corner. Torborg's just going to go defensive once again into here, which doesn't cost actually very much time at all, and it's a very effective defensive strategy going to there. Anyway, talking about the pit stops and the winners from the pit stops, top 4 have stayed the same, but Bruno Sousa Ferreira has gone out of pit stops and he's in 5th. Oh, thank you, boys. That's very kind of you, boys, to give me 5th spot. So he's got 5th. Had a great start to this race, and has carried on from there.
And
this could be his best TPS result ever, I believe.
You see Bruno in front of guys like Kevin Brent here and Florian Strauss, and you're thinking, okay, no way this is ever going to hold up. But like we were saying in the pre-races, that Bruno was one of the fastest drivers through the weeks of testing. So, I mean, I think he can fully hold on to his good position.
I know he was a couple. Oh, and Torborg's 3rd! Torborg's 3rd!
No, Strawn!
The change for the lead. Let's go. Let's see if we can catch what happened. I just saw that Strawn got past. Here we go. Oh, has he gone off at the at that guy? We can't see it. The very move that we wanted to see, we can't see. But whatever's happened, Torborg is now in 3rd. Oh, I did not predict that at all, Danny. This is fascinating stuff.
Absolutely terrible there for Torborg. And a few of the fans have sent me a message. They are completely thinking that Eric Strawn is going to find a way to win this race here. So, I mean, we know who the fans are.
Can you check out what happened, Danny, on your screen, perhaps?
I'm getting nothing. It looks like it's a weird lag moment or something like that.
Yeah, because of the replay. And that was, of course, the corner that was furthest away around the track than it could be from where Ferreira was, which is a big shame, which means we didn't get the full connection of the replay. And now Torborg is back in 3rd and has to get his composure back. But Strawn is right there. Strawn could be able to go into this final corner right here. If he has a good flip-flop, that's what that corner's called before you laugh at me. It's called the flip-flop. And now
this guy right here, Eric Strawn, becomes Torborg's biggest asset because he needs.
Well, it could also become his biggest problem.
Well,
because if Strawn stops dropping off the back of Rietveld and holding Torborg up, that's in Rietveld's favour. So it's right both ways.
Yeah, it can go both ways, but Torborg is the 2nd behind Rietveld. He needs something to throw Rietveld off a little bit. He needs Strawn to get after Rietveld, throw both of them off, and then maybe Torborg can slip up to both of these two. Because right now, I think Rietveld has the gap he needs to hold on to this win. He needs Strawn to now get in there and do something to throw off the championship-leading driver in Jeffrey Rietveld.
Strawn started off at Optimum Sim Racing in his early TPS career, and they've obviously grown him. There were several drivers have grown from Optimum Sim Racing and gone forward, and it's great to see. Almost like a youth development centre at Optimum Sim Racing. But Strawn's now at Ice Cold Racing, and he does have a TPS win under his in his CV in the Virtual Mini Challenge in the latest season, the 2013 season. And so he's no stranger to being at the front in a TPS race, but his best he's done in a V8 Supercar race, Virtual V8 Supercar race, is 3rd. So he's in 2nd right now. Do we truly believe he can win this race?
I don't think he's got quite the race. Oh, wait, he has to go wide there.
He's gone wide. Maybe distracted there by Toplin, who's gone wide also.
Okay.
Oh, so Rietveld lost almost half a second there by that small mistake.
Yeah, and now I think you're right, Ryan. Now it looks like Strawn might become somewhat of a hindrance to Torborg because he's starting to fall back a little bit. And
Torborg's not exactly pressurizing Strawn.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. There's still a gap between Strawn and Torborg.
It's strange, very strange indeed.
And to Strawn's, I remember going into this championship, he was actually one of the guys who was considered to be maybe like an Adrian Holm, a guy who was going to expect to now be one of those top drivers in the series. We haven't seen too much of Strawn this season, unfortunately. And who is this going off the track? Let's see if
Jeff
he gets. That goes through clean enough.
Jeff can always be trusted to be just making sure he's not in the way.
Yeah, it's always good to get to the. I don't want to, disrespect Callan and call him a back marker or a Dobbin rather, but he does that very well.
Remember, he is in Division 1, and so he's ahead of all the drivers in Division 2. So back marker definitely not the right way to call it. And there was Broodman, I think, on the side of the road. That looked like an Optimum Sim Racing driver, an orange one, off the track. And we're seeing this track is starting to take its toll. Look at the drivers there who are a lap down. We've actually got up to Dobbing, who's sitting 16th, who is now a lap down. So that shows how atrocious this... Atrocious, is that a word? It's a word. Atrocious this track is.
Well, you know,
Sala's back in 17th, you know, so he's had a problem. Maybe sped in the pit lane, perhaps.
We do
so
need to
he's
update.
Not a good stop at all.
A quick update: Kilof is out of the race with suspension damage, and now he sent me a message that Talberg and Refund had a bit of a crash, and Talberg actually has suspension damage, so that's why we're not seeing him challenge Strawn's car here.
Oh, look at Talberg's front of Talberg's car.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wow.
When did that happen? Maybe Rebuilt to slip past, Talberg hit the back of him, and then of course Strawn got past as a result of that. That's the only way I could see Talberg getting that kind of damage. That is big damage, and that is probably the reason why Talberg isn't able to put pressure on Strawn right now, or Rebuilt. That's they're right in the middle of traffic here. This is exciting stuff as they're siding their way through, trying not to lose too much time. John's there getting out of the way. He's in 15th spot. It shows how fast these top three are going because they are up to 15th and lapping them on lap 31. And there's Sebastian Rosemar ahead of them. Oh, it was almost hit the camera straight into Jeffrey Rebuilt. He's in the worst place possible right now for Jesper Talbot on the inside, coming over the crest, over the bridge, and Johns tries to pass. I'm trying to go back to Johns and see if he passed Rosemeyer there. I can't quite see on this shot. He's down the inside. He has passed him, so that's Johns into 14th spot.
And, in light of this damage to Talberg, it seems like now Strawn is the main guy to now challenge Rietveld for this race win. I mean, does Strawn have the out-and-out pace to keep up with Precision Motorsports' #1 guy here? We don't know, but I think in terms of this race, it's down to Strawn against Rietveld. Let's Talberg can somehow, because what I'm hearing that obviously we're seeing it looks bad, the damage. I mean I've been told that the damage is massive on Talberg's car. That car is just not right anymore. I think it's down to Strawn and Rietveld for this race win at Oran Park.
It seems like it. There's Ocklin there. Gets out of the way. He's in 12th spot right now. He will be absolutely loving this run. This is his best run in a long time in the TouringProSeries. He's had many frustrating races. He's now up in 12th spot at one of the most difficult races in the calendar, in the most difficult car. So he will be very, very pleased with being in that spot right now. And I'm very impressed as well that he's up there so far. As Talberg now gets past also. There's Junt. He wants that 12th spot now though, so Auckland might not be in that position for too long. But Junt, of course, will have big damage for his 69-point turn that he did earlier in the race in the pit lane.
Yes, and another point about Strawn here. You were talking about Optimum Sim Racing being kind of that starter.
Brooming out of the race. Sorry, on the subject of Optimum Racing, brooming out of the race. Sorry,
yes, but about being Optimum Sim Racing being a starter organization for some of these drivers in the TPS. I mean, you look at Optimum; they've had drivers like. Of course, Eric Strawn. Then they just lost Rasmus Salas. So those are two drivers now who are really starting to butter within the TPS that have been both lost to other organizations. So I mean, I know Bradley Vaney, and he puts a lot of time and energy into building Optimum Sim Racing. He's going to be a little bit frustrated by losing some of these drivers like this. So I mean, it's definitely something they have to look into if they want to become one of the top organizations within the TPS. But at the same time, they do find a way to keep developing these up-and-coming drivers. So, I mean, Optimum Sim Racing, a good start for them, but they definitely need to find a way to retain some of their top talent.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't want to become a feeder organization,
exactly.
just to develop these drivers and then send them on. And if you're watching this for the first time, you're thinking, develop drivers. They're just gamers. Well, they are just gamers. But at the end of the day, these drivers have to develop. You have to develop speed, setup knowledge, racecraft. And when they first come into sim racing, they may have played things like Gran Turismo and Forza and Burnout, God forbid. But, they've driven the
Strawn is on the track. Whoa, he's and Talbot goes through Strawn into the gravel track. Wow. He's only dropped the 3rd position, so that's solid from him. But that's
when you're fighting for a win, you want it, and that will annoy Rietveld, in fact, actually, because it means Talberg is still close to him in terms of points. He actually gains 3 points as a result, and he's still under threat here. Is Rietveld? It depends how his tyres drop off. Remember, I'm sure he pitted him much earlier than he wanted to. He has to do 21 laps on these tyres, and Talberg now has to do 22. but Torborg has better tyre wear. But suspension damage, of course, won't help his tyre wear. So it really depends. You know, it's still not over, this race. Still not over.
Well, Torborg, despite having this supposed massive suspension trouble we're getting reported he's only 1.2 seconds off of rebound. Okay, he's got about 5 laps in play to work with here. That's not a lot of time, but at the same time, that gap was not only 1.1 seconds, so it's coming down. Maybe Torborg still has something left in that car to get up to rebound. Meanwhile, here we have Kevin Brents, Bruno Sassa, Fiera. Obviously, Brents has gone through past Bruno Sassa to hit that 5th position. Florian Strauss, oddly enough, hasn't come up from 7th position, though. So looks like maybe Bruno has a chance to hold on to 6th place with only about 4 or 5 laps in play here. Darren Adams from Core Racing is in 8th position with his teammate Heinz Petzold not too far behind. Those guys always find a way to stay with one another. And remember, Heinz was one of the surprise drivers, and I would say probably the first 3 or 4 races of the championship. He kind of fell off in the Mid-American, in the American leg of the championship as we went to Watkins Glen in Canada. But again, here we have Heinz Petzold back inside the top 10. You know he's going to be happy about that. Get some good championship points here today. Kevin Engwin for DPG Motorsport there in at 10th position. Again, usually the top driver is Matej Orban. I'm not sure where Orban is today. I don't think.
Orban's on holiday in Croatia.
Right. So it looks like Kevin had no choice but to step up and be the #1 driver for DPG, and he's done very well up to 10th. Yeah.
It's been wonderful to see his development as a driver. You know, in fact, actually in TPS, he's a Division 2 driver. Remember at the start of the season, and just almost a linear progress throughout the season, step by step, and it's been fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it's always great to see drivers develop. I know even his teammate Matej Orban was way deep in Division 2. Now a constant run within the top 10. So this is another. We don't want to use this term feeder team, but DPG Motorsports, they are developing drivers. So is Core Racing. So it's great to see these developing teams within the TPS.
That was almost a huge accident there for Kevin. He just caught that in time.
Definitely a scary moment.
Get to my point back earlier. Just check the monitor the lead of the race. It's less than a second now. Torborg's not letting it go. Rebuild makes a mistake. It's right in Torborg's hands. I'm just talking about development as drivers, thinking, well, what are you talking about? They're just gamers. They're just on controller sticks, whatever. These drivers actually use steering wheels that they buy, which are often worth hundreds of pounds in many cases. And also we were talking about how they've got to develop their characteristics. They're going to develop patience, maturity, speed, commitment also as well, and knowledge, and instinct for that kind of, for this kind of racing. And it may seem, that you think, they're just playing around, but when you watch a lot of this, you see, don't you, Danny? People progressing and stepping forward and changing and improving different aspects of their abilities as a driver, as a sim racing driver.
One of the things I love about sim racing, in fact, is that it's actual technique involved with this stuff that you have to learn. Because, I mean, the skills you can use through sim racing, you can't use all of them, of course, but there's some stuff you can transition to real life racing. That's why you got guys like Stoffel Van Doren who are great in real life, who can just come right into sim racing and dominate as well. Because the skills they use or some of the skills they use apply on both ends. So yes, that's why we talk about these feeder teams and teams like THR, because it's a big step to be around these super drivers who know exactly how to go fast, who can teach some of these younger guys coming up how to get to the top. Because I mean, when you look at THR, guys on the outside, like Salo, he's thinking that he's with Optimum Sim Racing. He wants to go to THR because you know what? He knows about the setup. He knows what they've done for drivers. I mean, take the guy we're watching right here, Jasper Torborg, as he tries desperately to get back.
This is incredible. With that damage that he's got, I am very, very impressed by how Torborg is doing here. And Strahn is keeping pace with these guys as well. He's not dropped any time since that incident. Oh, and Torborg, he wants this win. He thinks he can take this win even with that damage.
He's going for it. And you got to wonder if there was contact between these two drivers that maybe Rehfeldt also picked up some suspension damage, because it's absolutely uncanny that Torborg was able to keep up with them, That
was a wrong button, my apologies. And let's have a look.
It looks like we're about to go on the last lap here, so now Torborg has to make this happen now or never.
It does. Final lap then. Rehfeldt has a 0.3 of a second lead over Torborg. Just a minute to go before he takes his 5th win of the season. extend his championship lead to 14 points if he manages to make it. But Torborg is so menacing behind. There is the Danish driver. Strawn is also closing as well. If there's any kind of incident where they both run wide, Strawn will probably run through on both of them. So this is tense stuff right now.
I gotta think Torborg's trying to plan a move on the final corner. That's the only place I can see him actually making this happen.
Those rear tires are going off.
Remember,
traction out the corners is so poor right now for rFactor.
Torborg's right. He's got a plans for the final corner, Ryan. That's the only way I see this actually coming off.
Here's where we want to do it. Justin, he's not quite got it. I would go for it right there.
It's simply not going to happen.
Is not going to do it.
Okay, but he's still got to run. He's got to run.
Here.
He's got to run here through the section
of
the track. He's got to make it happen.
Rietveld goes defensive. Oh, Torborg has to go around the outside. It's not going to work. And Rietveld, he's got to hold on here and take his 5th win of the season. Where has Torborg gone? There is Torborg. He's in 2nd spot. 1, 2, 3. Just like that.
Tremendous.
Rietveld, Torborg and Strawn. And once again, this format of racing, Danny Asbury, has delivered.
That was the best race we've seen all season. Right after the midsummer break, we've gotten a great way to open up the championship once again. Torborg against Rietveld for the title lead, for the race win. And it was nice to see names like Eric Strawn even factor into this race. So I mean, absolutely tremendous. We have Adrian Holm in 4th position. Kevin Brents, well done to him, continues his run. Remember, Kevin's 3rd place in the championship.
Where is
5th place today.
Ferreira? He was ahead of Strauss. Oh, look like he's 10 seconds behind, so he's made a mistake and lost that 6th spot, but still 7th.
He's going to be tremendously happy with the 7th spot there for Bruno. Darren Adams 8th, Heinz Petzold 9th, rounding out the top 10, Kevin Angwin for DPG Motorsports. Well done to him. I think we're going to have Carlos Ortiz coming across the line in 11th. David Young's going to be behind him. So, I mean, both David Young,
result for Ortiz as well.
Great result for Ortiz. I know Young's going to be disappointed because he had a top 5 position almost cinched up, but unfortunately he's gone down to 12th. He that's a solid result after having pretty much stalled in the pit entrance there for almost 10 seconds. So, or even over 10 seconds. So well done to Young.
Well, he was there
almost
a whole lap, I think.
Yeah, you're right. That was a long time right there.
Yeah.
So. Jonathan Ogden's at 13th. He's going to be thrilled with that result. Sebastian Rosemeyer, 14th, another DPG Motorsport driver. Andy Johns, well done to him, 15th. Rax Masalo couldn't really recover from his early race.
I think he must have had another issue,
yeah.
perhaps a drive-through, because he was up into 10th spot before those pit stops, and then after pit stops he dropped back. So.
Yeah, and couldn't recover. 16th for him. Jeff Dobbing, 17th. Rob Taplin, 18th with Ivan Navarro. Haven't mentioned him today, but finishes 19th with Chris Hack on 20th.
Remember the accident with him, so that was the problem there.
Rounding out the grid, we have Lee Palmer, 21st, Matt Richards, 22nd, Ethan Bass, 23rd. Solid result for Ethan compared to how bad he was. I'm sorry, Ethan, for that at Canada, but Lars Brown.
Well, even here, he was 7 laps down, in fact, so I'm not quite sure that's an accruing result really anyway for him. So.
Yeah, because he was still last of the finishing drivers. So Lars Brugman, first of the DNS with suspension
I'm
trouble,
not sure,
24th.
I'm not sure if Bass will be classified for that result, whether that's 75% of the race or not. I think it just about is.
Oh, yeah, 7 laps. 10 laps,
it is. 10 laps will be 75% of the race, so yeah, it should be okay with that. So Bass does get some points for 23rd spot.
Yeah, rounding out the field would be Simon Kilo on 25th position. Only 2 DNS in Lars Brugman and Simon Kilo, so good attrition rate from the drivers here today. But obviously Lars and Simon will try to do a little bit better as we reset the action for race 2 coming up in a little bit.
Yeah, we've got race 2, and qualifying 2, of course, is coming up next. That'll be in just a couple of minutes' time. Stay tight.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing, puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number 1 on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Hello and welcome back to the Virtual V8 Supercars. That's the first half of the broadcast over. So if you're sick of Danny's voice, you only have to listen to it for another, so the same amount of time you listened to it already.
No,
If you're sick of my voice, then screw you. Anyway, we're going to go into qualifying 2 in just a second here. This is the race we're at the moment. But you were discussing there, Danny, just while we've got a bit of time, discussing how the development of the drivers works in the TPS.
Yeah, you know, you commonly see some of the rising drivers go to THR, and the reason for that is because obviously THR is set up as the top organization within TPS, and so is Precision. So what drivers are looking for, they're looking to make that next step. Okay, because obviously Tallberg was great before he went to THR, but when he went to THR, he became the greatest driver in TPS history. He became the 5-time champion. We look at William Levesque, who was an up-and-coming driver. Of slight note, he goes to THR, he becomes a champion. Okay, now we're seeing recently with Robert Wiesenmuller, who is a driver. I mean, not to knock Robert, but Robert's been a good driver within TPS. Nothing what the other drivers would call special, but he goes to THR, he becomes a champion. Other drivers take note of that and say, you know what? I need to go to that next step, that Ferrari, so to speak, of TPS, which is THR, and say, you know, maybe I can be developed into that next champion. So when you have a team like that, you know, that has that type of branding, that's going to help out. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of that, you know, these guys becoming champions is because of their own hard work. The thing is, the grass is greener always on the other side. So unfortunately, teams like Optimum Sim Racing, who have never produced a champion, have to struggle to overcome, you know, with some of their top drivers who want to go to THR, who think that's going to help them make the next step. You know, so that's why winning championships and having a top driver already established on your team is such a big deal. So I mean, because unfortunately, you know, we're seeing some of these lesser teams, so to speak, struggle to hold on to their top talent. So there's always that going in play. Because I mean, there's a lot of viewers who will watch the broadcast, you know, root for your drivers, but there are also these team managers who watch these broadcasts, say, you know what, I like what I'm seeing from this kid this week. You know, maybe time to approach him. Maybe time to sign him up. So you've got that element always at play here in within the TPS and in sim racing. So it's always fun to watch.
It's not the danger, though, of course, of you know, of the top 2 teams as we have at the moment. We do have 2, you know, dominant teams at the moment. I mean, Asbury Racing are, you know, getting closer in certain formats. But there's another danger, though, of them hoovering up so much talent that there isn't any competition in those teams' championships.
Yeah, it's tough because you're right. Everyone, you know, you talk to drivers in the paddock, they're all looking for that invite to Precision Motorsports. They're all looking to try to get in on THR. So yeah, it hurts teams like Ice Cold Racing, Optimum Sim Racing, DPG, Core Racing, these teams that are trying to build their programs. Because yes, you know, when all the top drivers want to get to in one organization, yeah, it kind of, you know, makes things top heavy. But, you know, it's just what happens in not only sim racing, in real life. So it's just one of the things some of these other teams have to combat. So, I mean, any driver that has kind of the mentality that I'm going to go make an organization, kind of like what Michael Schumacher did when he rebuilt Ferrari, when he joined with them in F1. Sometimes that's what some of these other teams need. They need a driver that realizes they're good enough. They don't need the team to build them. They can kind of build the team. And once that happens, then you'll see more teams step up to be on that top echelon.
I think you should do that, Danny.
Well, maybe I will. Maybe one day.
Yeah, you've been planning that for about 2 years, I think, haven't you?
Hey, we'll see. Maybe
Flying Canadian Racing, Current Motorsports, THR, 151.
I would never officially member of THR.
It was ATR, wasn't it? The Nocturne.
Nocturne, I've been, ATR, Nocturne, Twister Motorsports.
You could have practiced what you preached, Danny boy.
Hey, you know, I get around. We're in
qualifying now, so we'll get back onto the subject at hand, because this is a crucial qualifying session. It's a crucial part of the season, in fact, actually. And I think Tallberg has to win this next race, doesn't he? He had dominance in that race, in my opinion. He was a faster car, but that incident where, you know, obviously he couldn't get ahead of Rietveld far enough, and obviously Rietveld went through. We didn't see quite what happened, which is a big shame. But I think he was definitely the faster driver in the overall of that race, and he didn't take the win though, and that's the big issue. He did not take the win, and he needed to. He needed to take advantage when he's got the speed, and has not won a race this season so far. And Rietveld's now got 5, so he's going to be now 14 points behind Rietveld. Thing is, you know, say, oh, Wheatfeld's only extended by 3 points, but he's clicked off another race, hasn't he, Danny? If Torborg wins this race and Rietveld comes second, which, you know, is probably one of the most likely outcomes you can ever bet on, then you know, you'll just go back to 11 points once again. But of course, Rietveld will say, well, that's good because there's only 3 races left.
You know, we're talking about, you know, it's getting late for Torborg, this and that, but, you know, you're looking at it's only 14 points, and you remember, you get 50 points for winning a race here, or is it, what, 25?
2-8-0 early on here. Torborg is
he's on it. He's on it. He's on it.
Today. I mean, Rietveld has been absolutely on fire also as well, so it is special to see these two drivers going head-to-head right now. Rietveld with the 3-3-2, and he can't get pole position in this early in the session. Incredible.
I should know this already, but I'm curious. Is it 25 points for these double race?
No, it's a whole 50 points.
50 points. Okay, so I mean, if with only 14 points being in it, with 50 being the max you can get, if Torborg has a great run, if Rietveld has some type of DNF, advantage hugely in Torborg's favor.
If either driver has a DNF, it's championship over. I don't care what you say about the mathematics. It's championship over for either driver who has a DNF, because that is just how the championship is set up. There is it goes 50, 47, 45, 43, 41. You know, the points are very, very close, and it rewards consistency over winning one race and crashing the next. Yeah, any driver has a DNF, it's all over.
That's what we're seeing, you know, Rietveld with an astonishing 5 race wins with only a 14-point gap. So,
well,
I mean,
the issue there, I wanted to bring it up earlier, I forgot to bring it, I didn't forget, but didn't get a chance, is that Rietveld really shot himself in the foot a few times this season so far.
Yes.
With a few penalties. So those penalties, I think have accrued about maybe 15 or maybe 20 points this season so far in penalty points that Rietveld has. So without those points, he'd have a 34-point lead, which will be virtually unassailable, most people would say. But as it is, he's got a 14-point lead because he's pushed the boundaries a bit too far and Torborg hasn't. And that's, people might say, oh, penalties do nothing, whatever, blah, 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 he still won the race, but everything. That is where it hurts. Right there, in the points championship, he is now in a tight points battle because, you know, he hasn't kept his nose clean as much as Torborg has.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Torborg's so consistent that if you get a little knickknacks you pick up during the season, like penalty point reductions, it's going to hurt you, especially when you're in a title fight like this. But I'm noticing here in the quality, you're seeing Rietveld and Torborg on another plateau. Then we're seeing it drop to Salo, Strada, and then it really falls off. We're seeing
the drivers are struggling, aren't they, to get to where they were before? But as Rietveld and Torborg just flick the switch and they're straight there. Yeah,
we're only seeing 4 drivers in that 104 zone. So I mean, these guys have to get familiar with these cars under quality conditions again, because listen, pretty much anybody can jump inside this top 5 right now. Because if you hit a 104, you're good to go. And
there we go, Rietveld 218 early on. So this is laying down the gauntlet lap after lap, and I'm not sure Torborg can beat that, actually. That's
going to be tough.
That's faster than Torborg's ever done, so that's going to be very, very tough indeed. But this is such a fantastic battle between two titans of sim racing.
Yeah, it seems like Rietveld is just quicker through that final sector, looking at these guys' sector split. So Torborg, I think he might even be a little quicker through sector 1, but he's got to make this car come together through that middle sector and the final sector if he wants to take down Rietveld full time. But again, only 4 drivers still are in that 104 zone. So I mean, from 5th down, you're seeing a lot of drivers who can hit that 104 mark. And it's going to be whoever can now get that car under control here for only 8 minutes left to get a lap time in. So it's pretty much anyone's game to get inside that top 5. I'm very curious to see how that goes. And Torborg, almost 2 tenths off of Rietveld time through that opening sector. So Jasper's got a really big
and it didn't look very much wrong with that first sector.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of understeer, a little bit of wiggle as he went through the first turn and hit the brakes. But apart from that, you know, he hit the apex beautifully. The apex, the exit was beautiful. And yet he was 2 tenths down. That is the standard of Virtual V8 Supercars. It might feel like a beautiful lap, then you're 5th. You know, that's how it works.
Yeah, and actually, just looking at the times again,
I can't fault this lap as much as 4 tenths of a second. Quite frankly, I'm watching right now. I can't see where he can pick up 4 tenths of a second. Obviously, that's the difference between me and you, Danny, and these two who are just on another planet.
You know, just looking at the comparison here, you're seeing Torborg's actually quicker through sector 1 and sector 2 on their fast lap. Meanwhile, Riefeld's pulling 2 tenths though on that final sector.
Torborg pushing far too hard.
Really pushing that car.
That is what happens. You just spin straight off. That's the danger. But of course, in sim racing, there's no penalty really for crashing in qualifying, apart from not being able to complete that lap, because You just go straight back to the pits and come out once again. That's the big difference between sim racing and real racing. There is no danger at all of ruining, your entire weekend by pushing so hard in qualifying. So these drivers can push as hard as they like.
And you're seeing Salo, they're kind of creeping up to these two. It's only about 2/10 off their mark with a 104.4 Salo's on. Remember, Salo, he's got to be a very frustrated driver after that first race where he started third again, but he had the incident with Adrian Holm there in the first corner and fell back to 20th, could never recover from that. So we'll see if Salo's now going to remember, Salo, he's been very strong so far for me, even though he was driving for Optimum Sim Racing through the first half of the championship. So this is a driver who can put up tremendous lap times. We'll see if he can now just hold his position here.
He's already won a TPS race in Holden, remember?
When was it?
In World Touring Masters.
World Touring Masters, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. He won in the Holden in season 3.
Yeah, that's the
Salzburg ring. So he's back. He likes his Holdens.
Salo was a big name a few years ago. Then he fell off the TPS landscape, came back here for V8, and has now really captured people's interest again because no one expected him to be this quick after being gone from TPS for so long.
And look at
this
Brugman.
was Brugman, wow, up to
fifth spot right now. I mean, the times are not as high as they should be right now because
Ryan, I think we got to switch off this guy. We got to switch off, and we can't.
Oh yeah, who's he? I don't know who he is. So I think the top 11 are in the fours last time. There goes Holm into the fours now. Then so that's Brugman back down to 6th. So people will start just to improve here a little bit. And Adams into a 5-0 also. So he's in 7th right now. Pretty happy with that. Both Adams and Petzold didn't have a stellar start, didn't have a stellar qualifying or stellar first half of the race in the first race. But as the race went on, they just seemed to pick off drivers here and there. They were ending up 9th and 10th, so that was a fantastic result for them in the end. 8th and 9th, in fact, actually, because it was Angwin who was in 10th, just behind them.
The core racing group, these guys do so well at always pretty much going up the grid once the races start. I know they ran into some trouble in Canada because they just a bad incident they ran into with this guy right here, Matt Richards, but usually Darren Adams and those guys, they just always find a way to get up the grid. I'm wondering what's going on with Simon Kielov. He's yet to get on the track, has yet to set any type of time, so is he just calling it quits or what? I mean, Precision desperately need him to score points here so they can...
Yeah, I mean, Tom Davis has been absent for... Now, this is his 3rd round, and that's 4 races in total. 200 points available to one driver in those 4 races, remember? And, THR have virtually lost no ground at all.
Yeah, 32 points going into this event, so I mean...
Yeah, it virtually lost no ground at all in that championship in THR Orange and Precision Motorsports because of Simon Kilo.
Actually,
he needs to pull his weight for his team, that has to be said.
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on in the PM camp, but Jeffrey, he's scrapping like heck to stay in front of Tallbreak, and his teammates not even getting on the track, so I don't know what the heck is going on in that Precision camp, but it can't be good right now.
Yes, but the thing is, there's such competition. Oh, and Tallboy is very, very close going into this final corner, but of course, this is where Rebuild was so strong. He got a superb final corner. Out of here, let's see what Tallboy can produce. No, once again, he's close, but he can't get close enough.
Yeah,
wow, so Salo was his 3rd. Holm is just behind him. Look at that, 4,000ths of a second in 4th spot. We got Jeffrey Rietveld, who's from Holland, or the Netherlands, depending whatever you prefer to say. Torborg from Denmark, Salo from Finland, Holm from Sweden, and Strahn from Sweden. So lots of Scandinavians in this top 6. And Brugman is also, I think he's Swedish also. So I think he's Swedish. I'm gonna go and say yes, he's Swedish.
Only 5 drivers again are still in that 104 mark.
That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, this just goes to show how some guys just really can't get control of their nerves when they really need to. Because I mean, I haven't driven this track before. You can drive 104s with race fuel. It's not the hardest thing to do. These guys need to step up, flush their nerves, get on this track, and go seize an opportunity. Because you can easily get... There's Yunt. See, Yunt, not known as the quickest driver, but he just seizes the opportunity available, slots in the 6th position. Yeah, so these guys really need to push themselves.
A driver who's been a bit below par here today, Kevin Brent. I mean, he qualified okay in the first race, did okay in the first race as well, finishing 5th spot. But we've seen him on these tyres, do very well indeed. A 2nd and a 3rd at Simmons Plains earlier in the season with these tyres, and I expect a little bit more from Brent, and especially now he's in 11th spot in the qualifying at the moment.
Well, it's hard to really push. Ask got to step it up when he's finishing 5th place, but at the same time, you are seeing Eric Strawn, and not to dog Eric, but you do realize Kevin is a better driver usually than Eric. And if Eric's getting podium positions, yeah, I see what you're saying, Ryan. There's no reason why this guy who's sitting 3rd place in the championship and Kevin Brent's can't also get a podium position and do a little bit better here this afternoon.
And the person we're not allowed to talk about has gone up into 6th spot.
The unmentionable.
Yes. I don't know what his name is. Maybe the spectators can tell us what his name is.
We
I
don't even know.
No. I don't want to know.
Don't want to know. Darren Adams there in 9th position. So, I mean, again, these guys are right on that cusp of 104, but it seems like not many can go over it. Now we're seeing a few more times roll in with a sub 105, with Yunt being 7th, the unmentionable 6th, Eric Strawn 5th, and Adrian Holm. Wow, that gap is very close between Holm and Salo. So it seems like it's actually a little closer at the front. Yeah.
The top 4 of hits, you know, where they were earlier, but the rest of the field definitely has it. I think Strong was perhaps around about 0.7, maybe a 0.6 last time around, but the rest of the field seems to be like a 10th slower. And you're thinking, what on earth are you talking about? 10th of a second? That's nothing. It is nothing, but it's actually a huge amount in this kind of competition. For example, if Kevin Brent improves by 0.2 of a second, he goes and almost takes 7th spot. As it is, he's 11th. That shows, you know, and 0.2 of a second is not very long at all.
You're seeing Matt Richards.
Angwin goes 6th. So there you go.
Wow.
People are grasping opportunities and going, well, if you boys aren't going to go fast, I will.
Exactly. This is one of those moments where you can get in those broadcast watchable positions, that top 8, that top 10, and you just gotta go for it. I mean, these times are reachable from, I would say, at least 20 guys on this grid can get inside the top 10 if they can just push themselves to get that time. So, I mean, now's the opportunity to get up there and to become a contender for this race.
And Brent's 5th. There we go. So obviously he's been listening to us and got his act into gear because he's now 5th spot. So that means we've got 9 drivers in the 4s, and that is more representative of what we had in the first qualifying session. They took their time about it, but they did it in the end. And of course, the first second counts as much as the last second. So that's we'll cut them some slack now, shall we, Danny?
We're coming a little slack. I'm noticing there in. So actually, no, Matt Richards jumps up to 12th position, so that's a solid result from him. Remember, Matt, I think he started about 15th or 16th last race, so 12th is better for him. Not nearly as quick as he was at Canada when he was like a top 10 driver, but he'll certainly take a 12th starting grid spot. As the quality session comes to a close here, it doesn't look like Talberg, I don't think he's
in the pits now, so
yeah, it looks like Riefeld's just going for a quick glory run. Really, no one that can challenge Riefeldt still on the track at this point. But Riefeldt, he's going to take it across the stripe regardless. It's only about a 10th down on his time, so.
I'll be very surprised if he beats his time into the final corner though, because he was stonkingly fast through this final corner.
He was
incredibly fast, and then he was actually down on Talberg's time before he got to that final corner. That shows how quick he was through there. Oh, he does go quicker! Wow! Oh, so you can go faster through there. Oh, damn you, Jeffrey. Proving me wrong, making me look silly.
Shows how much we know, you know.
Jeffrey takes pole position with another 104.1. Congratulations to him once again. That's another pole position for him this season, and that's a fantastic result for him. Remember, he also had one pole position in one of the qualifying sessions. He took part in the Tommaso Cole Clio Series as well, so he really is become a master of these qualifying sessions. Of course, a master of the races so far this season as well. We've been talking about Talberg so much in that last race. We didn't give enough credit, I think, to Riefeldt, because it was, after all, him who won the race. He won the race, even.
Yeah, we're kind of dogging Riefeldt because obviously he made a few mistakes early in the season. But
how dare he only be 1 second ahead of Talberg? It's almost like we were saying, you know.
He was tremendous that first race. To hold off Talberg like he did under constant threat is even more impressive than some of his other walk-away victories, because the last race he actually had to work for it, and he really rose to the occasion. There's some drivers, once they're challenged, they really are thrown out the comfort zone. Jeffrey Riefeldt, it doesn't matter. He can handle it regardless. He did an absolutely exceptional job winning that race, and then to stamp this quality session with a 104.1 like that, it's going to be hard to beat this guy, Ryan.
I think it is. So, we're going to run through the grid for you just a minute here. And this time we'll take a nice measured, shall we? Nice and calm.
Nice and relaxed,
Jeffrey Riefeldt is on pole. Jeffrey Riefeldt on pole position for Precision Motorsports. Yet another pole position for the Dutchman. Second spot, Jesper Talberg. Once again, the bridesmaid to Rietveldt's bride. And Torborg, of course, still racing for THR, as he has been doing for 2 years now. We talked about that earlier, about his improvement as a driver. He was already a great driver, of course, but he became even better while he was at THR. Salo, there he is. He'll be hoping to follow in his fellow Scandinavians' footsteps in joining THR. On his day with THR, he's qualified third once again in his second qualifying session, hoping for a better start to this race than he had last time around. 4th spot, Adrian Holm. He got a good result in the first race. 4 spots, wasn't too far, in fact, off the lead of the race, only about 5-6 seconds, and that was a great performance from him. He's been very solid this season so far, in fact, as Adrian, apart from Simmons Plains perhaps. The rest of his season he's been very solid indeed, and that's a big improvement for himself. 5th spot is Kevin Brent. He's, of course, still driving for THR. This is the only season he's ever competed for THR. 6th spot is Eric Strahn. Almost won that race in the first race, but he's in 6th for this, so we have to hope for a good start here. Kevin Angwin continues his fantastic event. He was well inside the top 10 in the first race until Junt decided he wanted to do a 48-point turn in the big garage. It was 69-point turn before, but people have reassessed. Excuse me, my voice has gone there. People have reassessed how many turns he did. It was 48 apparently. Kevin Angwin in 7th spot, we say. And he's had a great qualifying session here, and that's his best qualifying session in his short TPS career. Again, the same for Lars Brugman. Sorry, the person, I don't know. Anyway, 9th spot, David Junt, THR, another THR driver. He's in 9th spot. He'll be hoping he doesn't make such a faux pas this time around and gets a top 10 result that his pace deserves. Bruno Salsa Ferreira, again, another driver who's having a fantastic event so far. He's in 10th spot for Walk Racing. 11th spot is Darren Adams for the Core Racing Ford outfit, with Matt Richards in 12th, Chris Hack and Petzold on row 7, and there we have it. Adams, Hack and Petzold all within 3 positions of each other on the track. Carlos Ortiz is on row 8 alongside Andy Johns. 17th and 18th, row 9 is Rob Taplin and Sebastian Rosenberg. Rob got a decent result in that first race, he'll be pleased with that. And 19th and 20th was Palmer and Bass. 21st was Jeff Dobbing, with 22nd Jonathan Auckland, 23rd Ivan Navarro, and Simon Kilo did not set a qualifying time. I'm not sure he's going to be able to take part in the race either. Any points you want to make ahead of this race, Danny?
Well, you know, I'm very curious how the start of this thing's going to go. We saw so much going on at the beginning of that race where obviously Salo fell down. Eric Strachan came up. We saw Adrian Holm have a solid run. I think so much of it is how this race is going to turn out. We're going to see it in that first lap, because I think Talbrook's going to be thinking to himself that, you know what, I think that's where I got to get Wheatfeld, because the guy's so strong in that first stint. I need to get in front of him, control the pace of this race, keep Wheatfeld behind me, then maybe have a better shot at this. Because I do think if Wheatfeld gets out in front, he can get in the exact same rhythm he got into in race 1 and kind of walk away from this thing. So that's something Talbrook's going to have in the back of his mind. But I was watching actually kind of the drivers have a little paddock chat before the race. Wheatfeld saying how tired he is, and how he knows Talbrook's hampering him in higher race. It's already got to his mind mentally what happened in race 1. So whether or not his stamina is going to be able to hold out, I don't know. But I do realize last year, all the races I did, this one I was absolutely drenched after doing these races. This race last year, it took so much out of me. I had no stamina. Absolutely done. Okay, it's definitely something endurance-wise. If you have your setup, if your sim racing rig is kind of set up a certain way, so it's definitely something we want to keep our eye on how physically some drivers are.
Okay, we are about to go into this race session. The race session here about to end. As you can see from the time at the top there, and it's going to be another grueling race. This one, because you know you talk about how remember last season. And the next qualifying session on top.
I couldn't even imagine. This is something where a race of this magnitude of this, what you can't just kind of walk out there after not doing any testing. You really need to be sim racing like a week before this one. Just to get yourself ready to doing that long. It does take something out of you. When you're sim racing here for, I guess, about maybe 3 hours if you consider testing these guys before the race even starts. It's something to do something like this. Because you're not getting right with the steering wheel. You're not using a little joystick. You're not playing regular video. Something a little bit more to sim racing.
And you have that feedback as well. Maybe you can race without the feedback, but the feedback adds a lot to the weight to the car. Often when you turn a sim race is as heavy as when you drive an actual road car.
Yes, so it's definitely something that takes some out of your arms, especially if you're not ready for it. I know some of the racing in particular, they were so mentally gassed after some of the World Supertech because they weren't used to the kind of jostling you have to do with driving these torn up back and forth, heavy leaning on the steering wheel. Meanwhile, with F1 it's more light. So yeah, Ryan, you have to fight the steering wheel, especially in these
these are man's cars. These are man's cars. It's a man's car. None of that pansy downforce.
I hear you. It's definitely something that these guys get used to. Definitely something you have to work at. I definitely hear saying exhausted after the first race. Now got re-up for this second race to see if we can get this double.
That's the issue. That's the issue. Exhausted after race one. You do it all over again.
30.
And also as well, there is a heat wave across Europe at the moment, and it's absolutely boiling in my room. I was worried that everyone will be able to hear the seagulls, their fledglings, because I have the windows wide open. Unfortunately, you can't hear that, so I'm not here boiling. But I know lots of the drivers are, sweating buckets. And Luca Pecklark, Division 2 was mentioning, he has to go and change his shirt because he's sweating so much during that race.
That's how I was last year.
And we apologise for if you've got an echo on the broadcast and the commentary sound. That's not been fixed. Away for the grid we go. Rietveld, I don't think I'm going to start there. Let's have a look at this. Yes, he did get a good start. He's just ahead of Jesper Torborg. So rinse and repeat for the first race. This time Sarl's got a good start to the race. He's in third spot without Adrian Holm up his inside. It's Strachan who's got a good start to the race once again. He's up to 5th spot and Brent is back there. Strachan is now in 5th. He's just maybe going to slot ahead of Holm heading into turn 3. Yes, he does. So Strachan up to 4th. Rietveld leads. Torborg is 2nd. Well, not actually over between Strachan and Holm just yet, but it is now. You don't want to be the outside round back.
That's done.
That's there. You don't want to be right out of the grass, and then you have to try and slot back in. Of course, there's a big train of cars coming right behind you, as you can see, looking back from Strachan's car. And it's Brent who's 6th. Angwin is still 7th. Somebody's 8th. 9th is David Junt, with Ferreira 10th, Richards 11th, and Darren Adams in 12th. A nice clean start there, it seems. Looking back, there's a few bits of dust flying in the background. But it looks like everyone away pretty well here, Danny.
I'm very impressed with Eric Strachan with what we've seen tonight because I mean he just really likes this track and it's a very tough track to race on, but he simply doesn't make that. We saw a slight mistake in race 1, but other than that, we've seen just some of the best racing we've ever seen from Eric Strachan in his TPS career here at this track, and it's very impressive. Up to 4th already. We'll try to maybe go for a double podium. He'll be absolutely ecstatic if he's able to do that here.
So, Rietveld, Torborg, Salo, Strachan, Holm is the top 5.
Yeah, I'm sorry, David Young, I think he started 11th up to 9th already. The unmentionable is up to 8th position with Kevin Agwin there in 7th. Kevin Brent fell back to 6th position. So far, status quo at the front. Torborg could not take advantage of Rietveld on the start here. So now again, it will be these two mano-a-mano for the duration of this race. I know once we get closer to the pit window, it's going to be interesting to see how Rietveld's going to deal with Torborg undercutting him in race 1 and how he's going to counteract perhaps that happening again to him in this race. So definitely something we're going to have to keep our eye on. But these guys, they're right there on the same pace level. So I think it's pretty much Rietveld's going to have another fight like this with Torborg. He's not going to be able to pull away from the THR top man. But it needs to be said, Kielov is not in the race, so Precision again they're going to have a hard time pulling out any type of advantage over THR through this round. So not good for Precision in their prospects to knock
and
off
off the
THR.
track, Ethan Bass!
Oh,
He just
Ethan.
kept it on, as Taplin rounds off the field.
Yeah, Ethan Bass, he actually was in front of a few drivers. I know Ethan has he has a
Don't
terrible...
sound so surprised, Danny. That was a horrible thing to say.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Heinz Petzold is way back, so he's had an issue. Look, he's back in 23rd position.
Petzold, yeah. Oh, wow, yeah. Remember, we were talking about the core drivers, how they rarely ever fall back like that. Where is Darren Adams still in 12th, though? So, unfortunately, he lost his teammate, Heinz. Remember, he ran into trouble, not of his own doing at Canada. So, even though he had a good race one here at Oran Park, again, he's had some sort of issue here. So, he's going to have to fight to overcome that.
Rietveld fastest lap 4.769. Fastest lap last time around was a 4.7 also from Jesper Thorborg. So they're so even, these two. It's fabulous to watch. Petzold was involved with an incident when Richards hit Brugman at Montreal, and then of course Brugman went across the track. Adams tried to avoid it. Petzold got involved as well, so that sent them way back, and they're recovering ever since pretty much in those opening lap incidents. So I'm sure Petzold will come through the field here. But Ockerklint, we're talking about, he had a great race in the first race, 12 spots. Back in 22nd now, look.
Yeah, Jonathan, he was thrilled to finish what he did last race, but unfortunately he's back to almost business as usual. Sorry, Jonathan, but...
You're mean today, Danny. You got on the wrong side of the bed. Yeah. You're a horrible man.
I'm very sorry, Jonathan. But listen, the car still looks good. Does he have a little damage on that thing on the right side?
No, I think he looks... maybe a tiny bit, but he looks, pretty solid.
Looks solid, I guess. So we'll see how he has to do from there. I do want to pick up with a battle between Darren Adams and Matt Richards. Also, Chris Hack is in this. Over, I believe this is 11th through 13th. These guys, remember, Adams and Richards, they had a bit of that issue there at Canada. So these guys are going to be a little bit, I think, more respectful with one another. But Richards up to 11th position. He's going to be happy about that. Darren Adams, obviously a top 10 runner from race one, wants to get around Richards. So we'll see how this develops. Chris Hack, remember, Chris, he had a DNF, or not a DNF, but he had a massive moment in Sector 3 during race one. It's now up there in 13th position. We'll see if he can have a more solid run. It's also interesting to note that Chris Hack was a member of Core Racing in Virtual V8, went to Ice Cold, but just for Virtual V8. He's still a member, I believe, of Core Racing in Tom also called Clio Series. So it's kind of a weird thing going on there. I'm not really sure why you would move to Ice Cold Racing over. I consider Core and Ice Cold kind of on that same plateau.
Well, why would you move from Nocturne to 151 to Twister to...
I don't know why he would do that either, but Chris Hack, he obviously saw the need to go to Ice Cold Racing for Virtual V8. I think
he's more, people just ask him and he just says, all right then. So that's kind of how it works. He's not,
I guess it's nice and
not
simple.
One who, yeah, he gets on with everybody as it is. So, I mean, I was going to say about how Adams, he'll be, he will be heartbroken to see his running partner Heinz Petzold way back in the field. But it's okay because he's got Chris Hack, who usually runs around him in this race. So he's not, he's still got his comfort there of Chris Hack being close to him.
Yeah,
he's setting some scorching times here, but Thorborg is matching them. 0.5 seconds is the gap after 6 laps. And Sala's not too far behind, 1.6 after 6 laps. So any kind of shuffling between Thorborg and Rietveld, and Sala's right at the back of him immediately.
Yeah, it seems like he's assumed the role kind of that Eric Strawn had in the first race, even though Strawn is right behind Salo. So it looks like Strawn is still a factor in this race as well. So it looks like both of these drivers are going to be there in case Rietveld and Thalberg have some type of incident like they had in race one. And of course, it always has a possibility to escalate. I mean, because obviously both those guys didn't go off track. I mean, but we saw some very hairy moments, especially when Rietveld approached Thalberg into this first corner complex. But yeah, it looks like Sala's in a very solid position. We'll see now if he can catch up to these guys to pressurize Thalberg even. I mean, because obviously THR, they're not going to have any type of team orders going on at this point, at this stage of the race. But I really don't think there's much in the battle for the lead at this point. I'm pretty much sure Thalberg's going to keep his head under him until we get closer to that pit window where we'll see, I guess, the first kind of strategy come into play here.
But he's already tried this tactic though, hasn't he? And it didn't work in race one. Maybe he'll go for it in race 2.
Well, I'm not sure because, I mean, he got out in front of Rietveld with the lead, but unfortunately he had a moment with Ultracliff there that kind of cost him almost a second, and maybe that's what Talberg's thinking. Maybe he's saying that, hey, you know what, I did what I wanted to do, but I got unlucky. Maybe let me just do that again. Maybe I can get the win.
Of course, that is the risk you take as the person to, you know, to approach the back markers, as it were. It wasn't the back marker for Ockley, it was for position. So Ockley was, you know, perfectly okay, big in the way, and of course in touring cars it's not quite the same as F1 where you just get out of the way immediately. You know, it's just the way it is. You don't. It's not quite the same in F1 where you just go offline, you know, to be extra courteous. Look how much rubber Rietveld lays down on the ground actually when he breaks into these corners. He does tend to lock up the wheels a bit more than Torborg seems to. And that's probably the difference between the probably difference between the two with their tyre wear, because every time Rietveld does that, he adds an extra, you know, half a degree, 1 degree into those tyres, which remains there for the next corner and the next corner, and it just balloons itself. And of course, the hotter the tyres are, the more they wear, the more you lock them up. The hotter they get, the less grip you've got. The less grip you've got, the more you lock them up. And it just goes. It's a spiral to nowhere.
We do have a nice battle for him from 7th and 9th with Kevin Angwin, the unmentionable, and David Young here in a nice scrap. Well, hopefully this turns out better.
Who is that guy in the middle?
Who is the guy? Hopefully we can get Optimum Sim Racing on the phone. They can tell us who this driver is that's in this car. I mean, because we just don't know who this guy is. But, you know, he's in a nice little battle sandwiched in between Kevin Angwin and David Young. Young has done nice to stay within the top 10. I mean, Young was very quick in race 1. I remember I wanted to make a comment that he got to 5th before he stalled his car, or got his car stuck in that pit lane.
Stalled his car? That's an understatement.
Yeah, I guess it is. So we'll see. I mean, hopefully if Young can now he's very good in the race, so I expect him to at some point get around both Lars, I mean this unmentionable driver, and Kevin Angwin up ahead. So
we'll put Oakley to the side for now. Brugman is doing very well in Lars, he's doing very well indeed. And yeah, we do hope that he has a good run here, but we're not going to praise him too much because it all goes badly wrong again. Brunislaus Ferreira is in 10th spot. He's not far behind this group either. We're seeing lots of this, aren't we? Close racing with not too much overtaking going on because it's so difficult to overtake around this track. It's difficult enough as it is, just, you know, going around this track with its roller coaster nature. Never mind trying to overtake someone at the same time.
Yeah, I remember I personally had some trouble with this last year where I ran into David Young about 3 times.
I don't remember that at all, Danny.
Yeah,
that wasn't live broadcast.
David doesn't remember it either, but you know, it gets so frustrating being behind a driver on this track that you just likely just try one up the inside of any corner. And
so you're saying you put him off on purpose, Danny?
I didn't put him off on purpose. I was frustrated. Okay, I'll plead the fifth on that one. I mean,
out of my way.
Out of my way, you know.
So up the road, bro.
It's tough. It's very tough, especially I was on a 2-stop strategy. Obviously, we won't see that this year with it only being was it 39 laps last year, Ryan? Or we're doing?
No, it was more last year. It was it'd be around about half again, so it was around about 56 laps something like that.
Okay. So we have completely different structure. So I was well within my right to not appear out the road then. Here we have Matt Richards continuing the fight with Darren Adams and Chris.
Oh, the mistake! There's the mistake! That's what you have to take advantage of, and Adams is there to do it. There you go.
We were just talking about overtakes, and you're exactly right, Ryan. You have to pressurize other drivers, get them into that mistake. Obviously, Matt Richards gets sideways, and Darren Adams is going to be very happy to get through Matt Richards and slide just outside the top 10 in the 11th position there.
Well, you could say, oh, well, Richards just handed that to Darren Adams. Some people will say, you know, well, Darren Adams didn't earn that. Darren Adams did earn that because he's in the right place at the right time. If he was another 20 yards, maybe even 10 yards further back of Richards there, he may not have squeezed through. But because he was close enough, he was able to take advantage of that mistake. Oh, and there's Richards getting out of the shot. Oh, and we see big accidents through that particular manoeuvre, Danny. When they come out of that first turn and they put it half a wheel on the grass, putting the power on, and it just spits them straight into that bridge. 2010, I was competing in this series, and I was running very well in third or fourth spot, and I did the exact same thing, spat straight into the wall, absolutely destroyed my car. I was quite disappointed it wasn't a broadcast because it was a spectacular accident into that bridge. We also saw it in 2011. Very famous incident. Check out our YouTube channel if you're not aware of it, and search for Oran Park V8S 2011, and you will see We're about 5 minutes into the video. Lennon gets a wheel on the grass coming out of turn 1, spits across the track, takes Johnson with him. Johnson is forced up the escape road, has to park up the escape road and reverse back down once again. Eggbeer hits Lennon as he comes back across the track, and so everybody's recovering. It's all a big mess. And Eggbeer carries on around the track, has a puncher, has no front end to it, so no front grip at all hardly. Comes to the flip-flop where, who are watching here, Chris Hack went off in first race, went straight on, hit the wall so hard that it exploded his engine, and came back across the track, landed on top of Lennon's car, who had been recovering around the track also, and Johnson came around, was also involved with it also. So the same 3 drivers were involved in the same accident at one end of the track as the other, even though they ended up being many seconds apart after the first accident. It was an incredible turn of events. Make sure you watch that on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TouringProSeries. It was incredible.
Yeah, and just to update on the race here, Lars Brugman had a bit of an off moment. He tried an absolutely crazy move on Kevin England going into the first corner complex. Didn't go off so well, and he goes wide, and you're seeing that car still sideways from him. I wonder if he picked up any sort of damage, because he was off into the gravel, fell back to 10th, and has now fell out that fight, obviously, with Kevin England and David Yunt over 7th position. So here goes, very nervous that car looks to that first corner.
Yeah, when we talk about the development of a driver, Danny, and how they develop maturity and calm and that sort of thing, and racecraft, and Lars is still very young, is still an infant almost in his sim racing career, and that's a key example right there of trying a crazy move on Angwin, just because he want to get past, it doesn't wait, it isn't patient for that opportunity, the opportunity that is correct for him, and it's the patience and maturity that you get from racing, getting experience from racing for, more and more races.
Yeah, and you watch some of these broadcasts, and there's always the daring drivers in any venture of sim racing, any branch of it. And some of the younger guys, they'll see these drivers go for these crazy moves and say, "Oh wow, that's so cool! I want to do that." And then they get on in these races, and then they'll try to emulate those drivers so much, and it doesn't turn out so well because it's a lot harder than it looks. So
it is.
I mean, you watch a guy like Talberg or Peter Dweebelaar, and you see how thoughtful they are with their overtaking, how patient they are, and it doesn't really stand out to the viewers that I want to be like that, especially with the younger guys. So they see almost the craziness, and they want to go try to do that. And sometimes we don't have the skill to actually back up what some of these guys are doing. It doesn't turn out so well.
No, it's the decision making also as well, isn't it? Just got to wait for the right time for it. In these races, it's almost a converse thing, is it? Because all you're doing while you're sim racing, motor racing, is trying to go as quick as possible all the time. Especially in a format such as this, where it's just 100 kilometers, isn't very long at all, and you've got 25 other drivers around you, and you have to go as quick as possible from the lap, from the light to the flag. You go absolutely as fast as possible. And it's almost counterintuitive to rein yourself back in on occasions. Yeah.
So there's definitely something that you have to work. You have to get a feel of as you do more sim racing. That even though you think you're helping yourself, you're hurting yourself. But there's a battle between Kevin Brents and Adrian Holm developing over. We also have this battle Salo and Strand. It looks like Strand's actually caught up to Salo, which is interesting because Strand's never been known for his tire conservation. Instead, he had an absolute terrible time at this track last year, keeping those tires on that Holden.
Maybe maybe he still has bad tire, but has so much skill that if he had good tires, he'd be faster than everybody else.
We might be able to do that. I'm not quite sure if that's the case, but regardless, he's catching up to Rasmus Salo, who's a very quick driver in his own right. So I mean, we're about 2 laps away from the pit winner, which is I think only 1 driver or 2 drivers winning last time on lap 17.
Very early for Octane there. I don't know whether he'll make it to the end. Right?
He said, "Well,
he should do. 23 laps." Yeah, it should be okay, right? Is that 23 laps? How many laps did you do last year on your stints? About 20?
I did about, I think, 19. At 19.
And there's Bass off in the gravel with damage also as well. So
it looked like he parked it.
His day is not going well at all. I think Holm has gone off the track. No, he's into the pit. That's very early, so you must be able to make it from this point. So Holm was in the 16th spot. If he's out there on fresh tyres with a clear track for 2 or 3 laps, he could find himself ahead of Salo and Strand, and maybe even around the Torborg Rietveld area. So that's an And look how fast that pit stop was. 6.3 seconds.
What?
Compare that to Rietveld. 6.7 last race.
6.3 seconds.
Yes.
That's
And
absurd.
he comes out with quite a bit of space here. He'll be hoping Taplin ahead of him. He's coming to the pits pretty soon. He needs this strategy to work.
That might
That's
be the
incredible.
fastest stop we've seen all season, you know?
He's been painting his crew something special, I'll tell you that.
Well, you know, in light of these drivers going in this early, I'm wondering if Tallberg is going to now try to go in even earlier. This time around, no, he stays on Rietveld. Maybe I'm pretty sure this time around.
It was the end of this lap that he pitted last race, so let's look out for it. And I was on a whole big spiel about him, and he interrupted my point, and I didn't finish at the end. I can't remember what I was talking about. Completely caught me by surprise. I'm obviously a terrible commentator.
We didn't expect anyone to go in that early. I mean,
no.
But especially not someone this far at the front. I mean, Overton went up, a lap and a half ago, about lap 15. So that was absolutely, I don't want to say ridiculous, but that's going to be hard for him to make that strategy work.
Nothing to lose, of course, though. Nothing to lose.
Yeah,
so.
at the back of the field, so you might as well at that point.
Holmes got past Taplin. I'm not quite sure how quickly he was able to do that, or how smoothly, or how much fuss was involved. But he has got past him. He has Petzold ahead of him now, though. And Petzold, he'll be hoping Petzold pits pretty soon as well. And Petzold's all over the place at the moment, not having a happy race so far. But he's back up to 17th, is Petzold. That would be 23rd, and some way off in terms of pace.
Tallberg is in.
Tallberg is in. So let's have a look. There he is, and much cleaner entry this time around. Let's monitor his pit stop time. In fact, let's just watch the Strana Salo as we go through. Yeah. And we'll monitor his time. It will appear on the top right-hand side of the screen. Look out for that.
Yeah, and just so the viewers realize how quick Adrian Holmes' top of under 7 seconds was. Remember, I believe it was Rietveld who had 11.1 second stop in race 1, and that's a solid stop. 10.7. Okay,
yeah.
So that's a full 3 seconds, 4 seconds clear of Rietveld's time. So I mean,
and he's out there lapping while everyone's on worn tires.
I'm curious.
Where has Rietveld gone? Where is Rietveld? Rieveld's been off! No! Look! Oh, this could be championship changing stuff. He's going to lose. He's got to go around all the way around the track. This is incredible. I was just watching I'm thinking, Rieveld's at a 6.3? No, it's Salo. There we have it.
Oh, he's done
a debrief. A debrief 2010 did the exact same thing, straight on and understeered straight into the barrier. And this is incredible. Rietveld is dropping like a stone through the field. You have to repair all that damage as well in the pits. That's what makes it worse. Poor Richards has to try and get past him here. Don't push too hard here at the flip-flop. Jeffrey can go straight on. He has not able to turn to the right, of course. He has no left tyre. Ortiz goes through. Palmer's going to come through also as well. This is incredible stuff here today at Oran Park. We've been away for 5 weeks. I don't know what they've been taking while we've been away, Danny, but it's been incredible.
This is, I mean, we were just getting over the fact that Rietveld has seemingly gotten around these mistakes that he made on a similar corner. Remember, if our viewers remember watching Simmons Plains on one of those fast left-handed corners, he drops a wheel on the grass and goes straight off into the wall. Exact same thing happens here at Oran Park, and it might absolutely murder his championship. Remember, in that race, the Rietveld was able to recover to finish 4th. He's got to have a similar result here today. He cannot find himself outside the top 10 or in that latter stage of the top 10. Otherwise, advantage Tallberg in this race. Remember, 50 points to the race winner, which is, at this point, without question, yes, for Tallberg. Rietveld has got to recover. This is championship-changing, defining stuff we're looking at right now. What can Jeffrey Rietveld come up with here?
Of course, he has to sit there in the pits, losing even more time. It's going to be over a lap down, I would say. Where is Jesper Tallberg? Here's Jesper. He's around the rest. It's going to be a lap down very, very easily here, I think. Jesper is in 10th spot. We're talking about Holm jumping Salo. He's done exactly that. Look at that.
Yeah, even at Simmons Plains, I don't think Rietveld had to sit in the pits this long. This is massive damage. I mean, Rietveld, it's going to be hard for maybe.
Is he still in the pits, or has he come out yet? He has not come out yet, I don't think.
He's going to have a
He's
trouble.
still sat there.
Sheesh, he's going to have trouble getting inside the top 10. 60 seconds, a full minute.
You know what? He's very lucky. There are not more drivers in this race.
You know, you're exactly right there, Ryan, because we've got 23, 24 runners, so that's
23 runners at the moment, so yeah. Usually, we were around about 28 to 30, so he could look out a little bit there, but 21st spot. I'm not quite sure how many points that is. I'll have a check for you while Danny talks a little bit about something. I'm sure he can do something about that. But Angwin's leading this race once again, so that's another story we've got to see. He's led both races here today.
And you can bet he's looking into that pit entrance, make sure Yunt's not sitting over there. And he gets in, he gets the car loaded in there. He's made it in okay. And no cars there to stall him up. But Jeffrey Rietveld, 21st position. He's got a lot of work to do here if he wants to recover any type of championship points in this thing. Remember, Tallberg is set to get 50 points, which puts him provisionally as our championship leader. Rietveld, 5 race wins.
Where realistically do you think Rietveld can finish?
I think he can get maybe... It's Jeffrey.
Top 10?
I think maybe 10th, 9th. That'll be max. Because, okay, so far in those positions, I think we've got... Kevin Angwin was, I think, about 8th when he went in, 7th. So maybe realistically he can go after Kevin Angwin, and maybe that's 8th position. So that's maybe perhaps what we're looking for.
8th spot, we're giving 35 points. It's a 15-point swing. He led by 14 coming into this race as a result of his first race win. Tolber finishes 2nd. So Tolber will lead by 1 point with 3 races left in the season.
Yeah, so I mean, certainly there's not much in it there. I mean, if he can finish up in 8th position, that will be huge for Jeffrey. I mean, if he can come out of this thing 1 point down, that's a win right there in its own right, you know? It's just a shame that we've got a guy that has 5 race wins and is struggling like this to hold on to his championship lead.
Well, it just shows, doesn't it, how well Jesper knows how to win these championships.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Jack Keithy also, who's not won a huge amount of races in the Tommaso Cole Clio series. And there's been 14 races so far in that season. I think he only has 3 wins, but he's leading the championship by a big margin, some 50-odd points. So it just goes to show that it's all about, because these are long championships, you've got to finish races and finish strongly, race in, race out. As Andy Johns comes to the pits after leading this race, Tobble's back into the leader race. Holm has lost all of that gap he had over Salo, and now look at this. Holm, Salo, Stram for 2nd spot is now a big battle.
Yeah, and I was just Holmes 7 points.
Holm is struggling. Look at this, struggling badly.
Oh yeah, Salo, he wants his position. Remember, Strawn, he was quick at probably all these drivers at the end of that first stint. So I mean, you know, he's going to be anxious to get around these drivers, but he really needs to pick his chance. Ooh, he's trying to go inside.
That's not the side of place you want to be unless
you're
certain.
No.
Oh, and Salo has got it. Wow, how has Salo managed to? Oh no, he's not got it.
These guys have to get out of control here.
This is huge battling right now between 3 very determined drivers, all young and all Scandinavian.
These guys have done enough sim racing to know how to sort out a move. They really need to get their nerves under control. Now, see, here we go. That's how it's done for Rasmus Salo. A little bit of contact, but he...
Well, I think he's just giving Holm a bit of back what Holm gave him in the first race.
Yeah, true, but
the first corner.
That's where you want to make move. That final corner, the final corner, or maybe turn 3 of this track. Not in those fast chicane type of corners. I mean, now we'll see how Holm can hold, if he can hold off Eric Strawn, who really wants to.
Strawn will be desperate to get past.
Yeah, he
Holm,
will.
Because his race is with Salo, really. Because Holm was pitted earlier.
After the pit cycle, he's still 20th position.
20th
so
spot,
this is trouble. Massive trouble for Rietveld.
Remember, a lap around here is a minute 5, so he's well over 60 seconds behind. So he's about to lap Jeff Dobbing next. So he is just over a lap behind. Where is Rietveld in comparison to Dobbing? There's Rietveld, and there is Dobbing. Rietveld is at the top of the circuit. Dobbing's right down at the bottom of the circuit in the final corner. So he's got a way to go before he even gets 1 position, Danny.
Yeah, he's got less than 20 laps to do it. So you know what? 8th position, that was way too high. Yeah. This is not good whatsoever. Precision, remember, they came into this thing with a 32-point lead.
I don't know if his car will be fully repaired either, because often in our factory, you can't do a full repair, just like in real life. There's a bit of smoke coming out the back of that car.
Yeah, I was noticing that watching Rietveld. That car does not look healthy. I mean, remember, Precision came into this championship, this round with a 32-point lead over THR, and they were fielding 2 drivers. The THR's 1 on their main team, obviously THR Orange. So now this is absolutely going belly up for Precision Motorsports. Next round, we're going to see Toby Davis back, hopefully, which means THR are going to be set perhaps to become the first ever double winner of a championship like this.
Oh, and Strawn, he's just too eager. He's too eager to get past Adrian Holm right now. Is it costing him?
He doesn't like that Salo's getting away right now.
No,
Salo's
he doesn't.
absolutely checking out from these guys. Remember, and Strawn was faster than Salo at the end of that first stint, so he cannot be happy with Adrian Holm whatsoever
Well,
right now.
the problem is also, well, I don't know why Holm has dropped off his speed so much. Because I know he pitted, 2 or 3 laps earlier than the guys, but he came out with a healthy 3 or 4 second, 3-second lead over Salo after the pit cycle, and has just dropped off completely in this second half of the race.
All right, so
Remember, he was only 6 seconds behind the lead of the race in the first race, so kept his speed very well. But this time around, it's just gone. There's no pace in that car.
Well, he came in, I think, lap 16, so maybe he's been out there 8-9 laps. So that's a big. He's at a big
The other guys came in
Strawn
lap
now.
17, 18. They've been out there, 6, 7 laps. Not a huge difference, is it?
Okay. I thought maybe Strawn number
He's lost
21st lap.
But I'm not sure. I think they came in around about lap 20. We were talking about Reboot, weren't we? Didn't see too many of the pit stops.
We didn't see none of this. So,
but look at that. There's a 4-second gap almost now between Salo and Hull. And whether you came in 5 laps earlier or 3 laps earlier, that's still a huge amount. And Brent is just reeling them in right now.
yeah, and Strawn, we saw a very forceful and a very smart, I would say, overtake by Salo. He knew he had to get around Adrian Holm. Now Strawn's really got to dig down and get this overtake to happen, because it's really hurt his race health at this point, sitting behind Adrian Holm like this. Because looks like Strawn could have been on for a second place position. Now, with Holm holding him up like this, I don't think that's the case anymore. He has to get around Adrian Holm right now. He's got to work out where to do this, where to get that car around this lazy man racing machine. And that's Kevin Brent. Kevin Brent is now coming up to these guys. So yeah, Strawn is becoming even more of a factor for him to get around Adrian Holm right
He's
now.
definitely got the pace. He's just having the right areas, look.
Yeah, I thought Strawn really worked out where to do it properly. Meanwhile, we're seeing Strawn really struggle to make an overtake on this circuit. So he's got to get this under control.
He has to. Strawn has to get past soon, because Brent's going to be right there. He doesn't want Brent following him for the rest of the race, because you know how strong Brent is throughout the stint.
Brent has a sneaky way of always making an overtake within the final 2, or if you go in the final lap of the race, so you definitely don't want him behind you like that.
Raj not putting his car in the correct position. He's gone for a half-hearted overtake there. Look how much ground he's lost.
Yes, it looks like Brent's going to be all over him. So it looks like he's going to lose his position to Brent if he cannot get up to home one more time and make this overtake. Because Strawn, I mean, that's perhaps one night.
Oh, Brent is off!
Brent!
Oh, Brent is off! Into the gravel. He's not gone off as dramatically as Rietveld, but that's shot the bolt for him, I'm afraid. He's going to have to hope Strawn is stuck behind Holm for the rest of the race to make that gap back up again.
Yeah, now Strawn is right back up to Holm, but we don't see that type of mistake really from Kevin Brent. I'm pretty sure. I get it's very hard to run behind another car into that corner, because you're almost blinded from it, because you don't see exactly where you're going to get the car turned in and loaded up properly. So obviously that kind of distracted Kevin. So it looked like he made that very unfortunate mistake from him. But it's allowed somehow. I don't know what happened to Adrian Holm that allowed Strawn to get right back up to him. But Strawn now has got a second lease on life, has a second opportunity to make this move and now hold on and get a podium position.
Absolutely. One would expect him to make the move also as well, but he's finding it extremely difficult. If you want to track Rietveld's progress in terms of making his position, obviously you can do it via our positions here. We're going to see how far away he is from making another. Oh, and Holm is off! Holm has gone straight off. He almost took Strawn with him. Almost took Strawn with him, and Holm, he's got away with it completely as well. He has not got any damage at all. If you want to follow Rietveld and his progress, how far he is away from getting another position on track, because you can't quite see it on here because obviously it just counts as 1 lap down, you can go to our live timing app. That's www.TouringProSeries.com/live timing. That was very untidy there from Adrian Holm. Yeah, a lucky boy.
It's easy to make a mistake through that corner, obviously, but that was actually, I'm going to say, that was very bad from Adrian Holm. He just went straight off.
I wonder if his concentration, maybe it's very, very hot where he is right now, and the concentration, level has dipped, very much after that first pit stop, because he's not as fast as he was and making mistakes as well.
Yeah, and that's a very good point to bring up, Ryan, because we talked about that fatigue factor through the break, and maybe that's what happened with Jeff Reed. Remember, he said he was tired going into this race, and then you just lose that mistake. Yeah. You lose that concentration just for a moment, and then you're off.
It's not a physical fatigue, it's a mental fatigue, isn't it? Because you've got to hit every corner perfectly, lap after lap after lap, because if you don't, you don't win.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, maybe there's a bit of physical fatigue too, because maybe those arms get just a little tired. You don't get the car loaded into a corner the way you want it, and then you know you're off in that corner into the gravel, or like you were in Riefeld's case, into the wall. So now you're seeing Riefeld come up behind Adrian Holm. Remember, Riefeld a lap down, so. Obviously, I mean, maybe I would think Holm is going to let Riefeldt through here. It seems like Riefeldt is the faster of the two drivers. Holm is completely out to lunch almost. He's missing all of his marks. And like you said, Brian, just completely lost the pace he had in race 1.
Yeah, and look at Riefeldt's car. It's still a little bit damaged, you know, unless he's got a little bit more damage from somewhere else. Because look at that front right is still.
It looks bad.
Got
yeah,
a bit of mangles, and he's still 13 seconds behind getting the next position, which is Rob Taplin. This is bad. This is very, very bad for his championship. I mean, I can't see him getting higher than 15th, and 15th spot is 21 points. That's a 29-point swing.
Holm into the pits again. What is this about?
He must be just not able to handle those tires.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what's happened.
We thought that lap 15 was a very early pit stop, and this is kind of we're seeing the detriment of going in too early and not planning out your pit stop. Adrian Holm simply he's lost grips with that car. He realizes it's only a matter of time before he's into the wall. He's got to put fresh rubber on that thing, otherwise he might DNF this race. So that's
doesn't want to do what he did at Simmons Plains, you know, where he was struggling
yeah.
so much with his tires that he hit the wall in a very strange place and very hard indeed. We caught it live on the broadcast.
Yeah, because it is possible to actually blow a tire if they get that worn down. So you definitely have to pit for a fresh set of rubber if you've worn them down way too much. So obviously that was the case with Adrian Holm. Falls down to, looks like 17th position, so that's going to really hurt him. Remember, going into this race, Holm was 6th in the championship, not going to like finishing outside that top 10. Finish what, 4th?
No, he was left with Strawn, you know, in the championship. And of course he was 3rd and 4th in that first race, so that he didn't lose too much ground, of course. But now he's lost lots and lots of ground, and he'll be a little bit niggly about that. Remember, Strawn was his teammate earlier in the season. They were racing together for Ice Cold Racing, so he's basically being beaten by his teammates so far this season.
Yeah, you know, I talked to Eric Tveit about, you know, perhaps a rivalry formed between them and Adrian Holm, and he said, look, you know, it's not much of a rivalry, but it's definitely something we are aware of. We do want to beat, you know, Adrian, but, you know, there's no, you know, anger there with him leaving to go to Lazy Man Racing like they did. But, you know, it's certainly some competition, and Eric Strawn definitely wants to finish in front of Adrian Holm. Like you said, they're both tied on 6 in the points table, so that's definitely something Ice Cold Racing will be happy about.
Don't talk too much about Ivan Navarro in these races. He's not been having his best time of it in Division 1.
Who are we talking about?
Ivan Navarro.
I'm joking with him.
Oh, that's poor Ivan.
Yeah,
You're a horrible guy today, Daniel. You're not coming back next week. No chance. And no chance of you doing Bathurst either. I'm not spending 3 hours with you in the booth while you're like this. That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm done after this one. I'm getting sacked.
I'm going to get letters of complaint at this rate. But Ivan, we haven't talked too much about Ivan. Or, no, a few drivers we haven't talked too much. But Rosemeyer, for example, has been, you know, under the radars, and Ivan has not had his best Division 1 race, it has to be said. And we have talked about Ethan Bass a little bit, and he's had an absolutely torrid time of it. As we said, he's now 5 laps down on the leader, which is Jesper Torborg there. You know, Rosemeyer, for example, has had a very solid run so far. He's in 15th spot. Let's check in with him if we can. And there he is, Rosemeyer. He is a teammate to Angwin, of course, so he's somewhat overshadowed by Angwin in this race. But he's a debutant in the TPS also. He hasn't raced in sim racing very much at all, I don't think, and before he even came to TPS. So he started off in Division 2, rapidly came to Division 1, and you know, has held his own here. In 15th spot, you know, look at the drivers he's ahead of, for example. You know, people like Holm and Petzold and Rietveld. So, you know, he's definitely doing a good job.
I really like what I've seen from Sebastian, especially in the North American leg of the championship. I think at Canada he even got up to like 11th or 12th at one point. So this is a driver who's making steady spikes on the Richter scale. I like the outfit he's with, DPG Motorsports. These guys are really bringing up a nice solid crop of new drivers in the TPS. Yeah. So I mean, Sebastian, he's with some good guys like you said, Kevin Engwin, Matty Orban's with the team. These guys are going to help him out moving forward, and up to 15th, he's going to be very happy with that. We've seen a lot of drivers make mistakes on this very tricky Oran Park circuit. This has not been one of those drivers. He's been nice and solid. Rosemeyer, if he can finish 15th, which that looks to be the case, he's going to be very happy with that. And David Young, it needs to be said about him, he's been tremendous today. I mean, besides his one mistake
yes.
in pit lane, both times he's just out for pure pace has made it up inside the top 5. He's going to be ecstatic with that. And, you know, after finishing, what was it, 12th last race, 5th this race, that's really going to help him up. I think he's like 9th in the championship or something, or thereabout. Yeah, he is, David Young. No, David is down 13th in the championship. So it's 12th and 5th. That's really going to help his prognosis on the championship. Finished within the top 10 each of the past 2 seasons in 2011 and in 2012. So this is a driver who's been around the block a few times, who's going to be very happy if he can just get a nice point score today and help his top 10, help his prospects of finishing in the top 10 once again in 2013.
We're talking about the need for Strong to get past Sal. Look how much time he lost. He lost 8 seconds while he was stuck behind Adrian Hulme and not able to get past. So that shows how crucial it is and how difficult it was to overtake him. I mean, Strong was a second a lap faster and still going to find his way through. Brugman, Angwin and Adams. Now this is a very fascinating battle. We've got Brugman, who's not very experienced and is very young. Angwin, who's not that experienced either, but a little bit older than Brugman. Adams, who is very experienced in this kind of in sim racing. And so it's a fascinating battle here. We've got it's actually upside down right now in terms of experience. Brugman is heading these two with just 4 laps to go. And if Brugman could hang on to 6th place here, I think this is the beginning of a new star being born, Danny.
I've been very impressed with Brugman. I mean, since Watkins Glen, he's kind of turned the corner here in VV8. Almost got a top 10 there. Was very strong in Canada. Well, he didn't have his best race in Canada, but now today here, he's been
of course,
very quick.
He qualified well and was taken out in the opening lap by Matt Richards in an incident, wasn't he? So.
Exactly. So, you know, to see him to come out here today and to really to capitalize on the pace he's shown is very good. To finish, to be in 6th right now, to be in a battle this late in the race, this is very well done to him. You know, Kevin Angwin, another guy who's, like you said, Ryan, continuing to develop. And then you have Darren Adams, who is just as solid as it gets. Remember, Darren, his big rule is that to his other core racing drivers, that they just simply can't finish in front of him, but they can race with him. You know, he jokes when he says that, but you know, obviously he does finish in front of his core racing teammates more often than not, it seems. But you know, he's definitely another driver who's solidly putting together a very good string of results from the TPS.
And Angwin, of course, is a driver from Indonesia, the first driver we've ever had from Indonesia in the Touring Pro Series. So once again, you know, we're breaking new ground in the Touring Pro Series, and I would never have thought it way back when I first started. You know, just organising leagues on a fairly casual basis with it, that it would grow to such an extent. It's fantastic to see. Because Adams is very close now to Angwin, and any small mistake that Angwin makes, Adams will be nipping straight through. But the leader of the race and the class of the day so far, I would say, considering that Rietveld made that big mistake, even though he won race 1, has been Jesper Torborg, Danny. He's
been tremendous, Jesper Torborg. I mean, for all those that are rooting for Torborg and people just want to see a real tight championship fight, this is great for everyone because, I mean,
everyone, think that, you know, the first half of the season, you would say he's been pretty below par by his standards.
Everyone's been questioning Torborg. Can he win in 2013 with Rietveld, with Toby Davis, with Simon Keylaw? But you know, personally, I've just always thought that Torborg's just been holding serve, not been trying to push too hard, and now once he sees that it's time to go for that championship, he stepped up to another echelon.
Like a Federer.
Yeah, it's Roger Federer. Now that's my guy right there. You know, I obviously, you know, you being, you know, from Great Britain, you know what's happened with Andy Murray. So I obviously, you know, the tennis been pretty big over there, Ryan. But that's another story. The point is
yeah. Well, it was, you know, with Federer, you know, you get to 3-3, 4-all, and just, you know, playing along nicely, and suddenly next level, yeah. You know, and takes a set, and he did that match after match after match, conserving his energy. And throughout the championship, then he'd pace himself, and I wouldn't say that Torborg's been pacing himself too much. He has been quite poor, especially at Simmons Plains. He was, you know, 7th place, I think he finished at Simmons Plains. There's a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes, but in other races, he definitely has just bided his time. He's recognised when he has a car that can win a race and score lots of points, and when he has a car that, you know, that can just come 2nd or 3rd. I'm happy with that, and makes the best of a bad day.
You know, in professional tennis, like sim racing, it all comes down, once you're at this level, of pushing in the big moments. Okay, like you said, Roger Federer, he's a guy who once you get in the break point, that type of thing, he's going to take advantage of those type of things. Jasper Tallberg is a guy where, you know, it's been him and Rietveld were even today, but Tallberg, he did what the
There's just one moment, isn't there? There's the one moment for Rietveld.
The coming in early last round to get in front, last race to get in front of Rietveld, little things like that, holding off you know Rietveld and staying with him, little things like that Tallberg has done exceptionally well. And you know, to be honest with you, Rietveld's done everything by the book today. It's been tremendous, except for that one mistake. And speaking of which, Rietveld was off not too many laps ago, in the same corner, but he wasn't going to come up through the field anyway. He's going to finish 20th, but. Yeah, it's those little moments like that that make championships. And I feel that Tallberg is the guy who really rises during the big moments. He doesn't care so much about the first half of the championship, or he just cares about staying in it. Because obviously you can't win the championship within the first 5 races, but you certainly can lose it. Exactly. Yeah. He's the guy who just wants to stay there, and now when that's time to win it, he's another guy. The Tallberg we're seeing is a guy who's on another level compared to the driver that we saw in the first 5 races of the season. I've got to say, as
soon as I saw his performance, and I'm sure other people who we know who are fans of TPS and watched it before, as soon as they saw in qualifying that he stepped up his game in qualifying, you could just sense it. You could just, it sounds silly to say this because it's just a game, but you could just sense how that he'd stepped up his game. And he was about to produce a fantastic event. And he has produced a fantastic event. He's going to take the championship lead. Jesper Tallberg narrowly missed out in the first race, but he makes amends in the second race. He's a winner once again in the Virtual V8 Supercars. Well done to him. Great result for Jesper Tallberg, and he takes the championship lead.
That's tremendous by Jasper Tallberg, taking the lead of the championship, taking his first race victory of the season. Rasmus Salo, tremendous job from him to recover from his 20th position in race 1, or 16th position in race 1, to finish second. Eric Strand, double podium result from Eric Strand. He's going to be thrilled, and so is the ICR camp. There's Kevin Brents, who recovers, who actually just silently, very quietly finishes 5th in race 1, 4th in race 2. We're going to have
that's 4 THRs in the top 5.
That's very strong, despite them missing the top driver pace-wise in Toby Davis. And David Young, tremendous job. I mean, great credit to David for finishing 5th there, recovering from his shenanigans in race 1. Lawrence Brugman, a fantastic result to finally put up a tremendous race result to get 6th. He's going to be thrilled with that, and so is Optimum Sim Racing. We have Kevin Edwin for DPG Motorsports on 7th, Darren Adams for Core Racing on 8th. Bruno Salzafair makes good on his pace through the RECA test and finishes 6th.
Did, 2 top 10s.
Yeah, in race 1, and now 9th in race 2. Chris Hack, well done to recover again from his mistake in race 1, where he had that moment in sector 3. So a top 10 for him. Carlos Ortiz quietly puts
2 11s for Ortiz.
Yeah,
2 11 spots, and we don't talk too much about him, but that's the second time in 2 events where he's just gone, oh, hiya, I've got a top 15 again.
He's quietly sticking just outside that top 10. He's a driver who is really developing. So Matt Richards on 12th position, finished, I believe, 12th in race 1 too. So, or not 12th, he finished thereabout in race 1. Lee Palmer, 13th. Lee Palmer putting together a very solid string of results. So well done on Lee there. Andy Johnson, another guy, finished 15th in race 1, 14th in race 2. He's going to be very happy with that. Adrian Holm could not manage to get far up the grid after his second pit stop. Finishes 15th. Sebastian Rosemeyer finishes 16th. Rob Tapton 17th. Jeff Dobbing 18th. With Jeffrey Reefer does get a position of Heinz Petzold, looks like. Gets up to 19th. Petzold on 20th.
Did just sneak that 19th. It's not, I don't think it's, well, it must have been Petzold, mustn't it, that he got past?
Yeah,
Petzold is the driver who's made a mistake on that final lap, it seems. So Rietveld has got 19th spot, and 19th spot gives him 16 points. A 34-point swing, which means he's 20 points behind in the championship. That's how it looks. A 20-point gap. With 3 races to go, we've got the 200-kilometer race at Sandown Raceway on sprint tyres. That is the type of event where Rietveld struggled last time out at Adelaide, although he did have a small bit of damage on the opening lap, which he says damaged his tyre wear issues, but you've got to be worried about that. And then you've got a 150-kilometer race at Sydney, also on sprint tyres as well, so it's going to be crucial. He has to be, I think, if he's close coming into Bathurst, then I think they are the favourites to take the championship, as long as he's pretty much level, Danny. Because without doubt, I would say that Jack Keith is probably the best co-driver that you could ask for in the Virtual V8 Supercar.
The rest of the field is going to take note when you got Jeffrey Rietveld and Jack Keithley teamed up together. That's absolutely an absurd lineup, but I'm sure THR can conjure something up to kind of get somebody on par with that. But I'm curious to talk to Jasper Taub. We haven't talked to him in so many races. I'm not sure we've had him in the booth all
he's
season.
Been grumpy.
Right?
He's been grumpy. Well, go and grab him.
Yeah, we gotta get him up here. We'll get him up here.
Yeah. Okay. Right, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes' time, and we'll have a chat to our drivers about the action that happened today, and very interesting it was too. See you in a couple of minutes.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing, puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Hello, welcome back to the Virtual V8 Supercars, where we've had an exhilarating 2 races, plenty of discussion here, Danny, and we've got a few of the drivers we're going to talk to also. Just to recap, if you're just coming in, putting the brew on us, I don't know what you've been doing. If you've missed this race, then you've definitely missed out. But what happened in this race? We've had 2 races here today. First race was pole position and a win by Jeffrey Rietveld by a very small margin over Jesper Torborg. And then in the second race, Jesper Torborg and Rietveld went at it once again. Rietveld qualified in pole position, but Rietveld made a mistake and crashed and finished in 19th in the end, with Jesper Torborg taking the win and the championship lead overall. So we're going to talk to our drivers here today. And first of all, we're going to talk to Jeffrey Rietveld. Jeffrey, met so many times this season, we've spoken to you after what has been a pleasing event for you, and although you took the race 1 win here, it's not been a satisfying event overall, has it?
No, I'm quite pissed off at the moment.
I'm not surprised.
My request pit button didn't work during the straight when I saw Jesper going in, and I was looking at it like, what's wrong, And then I was at the end of the straight, and it was already too late to brake.
It's so dangerous, those first corner complex, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hard if you brake like a meter too late and you miss that apex a little bit, then yeah, you're quite screwed.
Yes, you were in the end, unfortunately. And I mean, you finished back there in 19th spot. But let's talk about the first race first of all. You must have really enjoyed that battle with Torborg, early on and later in the race, and also Strong coming back into it also at the end. I mean, it's the closest you've pretty much had all this season, and it was such high quality racing. Lap after lap after lap. You were nose to tail. There's barely a second between you. I mean, at any point in the race, it must have been the most enjoyable race of the season for you so far. That first race.
Yeah, it was. Jesper and me are P1 and P2 in the championship, but we never really had a fight together or something. So it was awesome to fight with him. Yeah, too bad I hit him at the. At the rear. At one point, I expected him to brake a little later and take the inside, but yeah, I just misjudged my braking point and hit him. But
we didn't catch what happened there, so that's an interesting nugget of information. Do you feel you're at fault for that?
Yeah, but I waited for him, so yeah, I don't think it's much of a problem. We both had damage after that, and
right.
Yeah, just passed him because he made a mistake at one point. But it was very interesting battle and very hard also to keep these lap times up, lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously in the second race it was much the same deal. Apart, obviously in the end it was a bitter ending for you. In the end, you kept going and picked up a few points, but you must be, as you say, pretty gutted about what's happened. Where does that leave you now in the championship? You're now going to go into the final 3 races of the season with a 20-point deficit. And that's very difficult to make up with our point system, isn't it?
That will be very difficult. So yeah, I will do my best to win every race from now on. I know I got Jack for the Bathurst race, so that should be, yeah, should be good. Yeah, it's just waiting for a mistake of Jesper, of having bad luck, a connection lost or something. You know, it's not in my hands right now.
Not in your hands, unfortunately. Yeah, that's absolutely true, and it's very unfortunate for you, Jeffrey. Of course, if you've taken 5 wins so far this season, you must feel obviously very disappointed about that. But commiserations to you, kept going, and I'm sure you will keep going for the rest of the season. Been very impressive in your debut TPS season, and good luck in the rest of the season, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
Danny, I believe you got Jesper. We haven't heard from for quite a while.
Yes, we do have Jesper Talbot, now the championship leading driver. So, Jesper, the first thing I want to talk to you about is that the first half of the season, you've been great. Okay, you've been second place in the championship, only 11 points off the title lead going into this event. But today, you seem to be on another level. I mean, is there any type of thought process from you that you know what you have to step it up now, or was this just business as usual for you?
Pretty much the same for me. I did the same amount of practice, and maybe I just like this track, I don't know.
So, I mean, without Toby Davis being in the team right now, obviously he's out doing supercars at the moment. Have you who's been the guy to step up to do the setup work within THR to make your guys' car that quick?
Well, everybody actually, last time it was Ivan who gave us some setup, and I tricked them, and this time Ivan also gave some setups, and Rasmus also gave some setups, and they felt pretty good to me, so I just used them.
Well, now moving forward in the championship, you've got not a substantial lead against Jeffrey, certainly, but you've got a solid lead against him. Do you feel any sort of comfort level knowing that you're now leading the championship that you won last year?
Well, I'm not really that confident, but I think I just need to maintain my consistency, and it will go pretty well.
Well, fair enough, Jasper. I mean, tremendous result today. You kept everyone on the edge of their seats. Couldn't get the job done in race 1, but in race 2, you were able to get through to get that first victory of the season. Well done, and good luck moving forward.
Yeah.
Now, I know Ryan is going to now point our interview toward, I believe, either Adrian Holm or is it Ryan? I'll just let you take over.
I'm going to put Danny out of his misery. Oh, dearie me, Danny. You could have just picked any name. I would have talked to them, you know.
Hey, go with it.
I'm going to speak to. Let's speak to Lars. Lars, are you there? Yes, he is. Excellent stuff. We've never spoken to Lars before, so this is a momentous occasion. And Lars, you had a fantastic event. Obviously, in the first race, you had great pace. It didn't go quite so well, but that second race was fantastic for you, a sixth place. How do you feel?
Pretty happy, actually. It was quite a good race. Tires were a bit difficult to keep under me because they were wearing out a bit quicker than I had anticipated in my testing, but it went quite well.
I mean, we don't know too much about you, Lars, but tell us about, you know, would you have expected to be this far up the grid, you know, this early in your sim racing career? Or is it it's come as a surprise to us, hasn't it, Danny? But has it been a surprise to yourself, Lars?
Yes, pretty much. I didn't expect it to be this quick.
You expected this quick, and I mean, do you have more pace in you? Are you the next Jack Keithy, Jesper Tolborg, Gregory de Grief?
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. He's optimistic. Well, thank you, Lars, and hopefully we'll speak to you a bit more in the rest of the season. And good luck in the rest of the season also. And we'll look out for your star, which is certainly burning bright at the moment. Danny, you're now going to speak to Adrian Holm, I believe.
Adrian, okay. So first race, you have a tremendous result. Finished 4th place. Out there fighting, kind of a lonely race, I would say, a lonely 4th. But in the second race, you go into the pits extremely early, and it doesn't pan out for you. So take us through the thought process. What was going on there?
I felt my tires going away from me, so I just took a chance on going on just rear tires. But I just I didn't put enough track bar in it and just massively understeered for me. So I had to pit again, otherwise I just would have punctured my front tires.
Now you're sitting sixth place in the championship. Well, you were going into this event, but you've been plagued by inconsistency and some mistakes so far in the series. I mean, what's going on from your perspective? I mean, you seem to have the pace. It's just that you've lacked the consistency of staying within that top five.
Oh, don't mind him, Adrian. He's just been grumpy all day today. He's been horrible.
You gotta go for broke, man. I don't care.
Gotta go for broke.
Hey, Adrian, you've been rubbish.
He's sitting six. He's sitting six. Okay.
Sorry, I've interrupted. Carry on.
Adrian probably doesn't even know what the question I asked him.
Yeah, sorry. He was sorry. Danny was asking what's the reason behind the inconsistency so far this season.
A bit of bad luck, bit of my own mistakes, but not really. I've always been a bit inconsistent. Just something that I don't really work on, to be honest. I just try to put out as fast laps as I can, as often as I can.
So to be sitting as high in the championship as you are you happy with that? Are you surprised by it? I mean, was it what you were looking for? Is that what you were looking to do going into the season?
Yeah, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? I don't. It's yes, sure. It's nice to be up there, but championship isn't the thing I'm going for. I'm just trying to get a win and be up there on the podium every race, and I have to take my chances to try and get up there, and sometimes they don't pay off, and you end up with a 15th or something like in the second race.
Hey, well, regardless, well done to you. I mean, a top 5 in race 1, very good stuff. So, okay, Ryan, I'm gonna throw it back to you. You can point it to whoever you want now. Okay, how about that?
Oh, he's not getting this idea at all, is he? We're going to speak just one more driver. I do want to speak to, well, I would speak to two more. I want to speak to you're going to speak to Eric Strand, Danny. I'll speak to Bruno Ferreira. Bruno, not a massive upturn in pace, but definitely a big step forward for you today at Oran Park. What was your secret? Have you just been non-stop on the track for the last 5 weeks?
I don't know. Probably the 5 weeks were good for me because I had extra time to practice and get the setup onto the sweet spot. So that's basically it.
And so far this season, you've been, you had quite a strong season in 2012, in fact, and I expected a bit more from you in this season. But you've been generally around about 17th, 20th, kind of those kind of areas. And obviously today you've jumped into the top 10 with 2 excellent results, a 7th and a 9th. I mean, you were keeping pace with people like Florian Strauss, who yourself, you'll have watched and admired, and suddenly you're racing with him, and that kind of speed. So you're 7th and 9th in this race. Do you think you can carry that forward now into Sandown and Sydney Park?
I'm not sure because I never raced over there, so we'll see. Hopefully, yes, but you never know.
You never know. And of course, you're flying, the only person now driving for Walk Racing at the moment. I mean, how are you finding that?
It's a bit disappointing that everybody else left, but it's not the first time I haven't been by myself, racing.
Oh, poor Bruno, you're breaking my heart. Breaking my heart. All by myself.
Oh, don't get him singing. No, stop.
No. Anyway, Danny, thank you, Bruno, and good luck in the rest of the season. Hopefully you carry that on throughout into the next couple of rounds, and hopefully you won't make me sing. Danny, you've got Eric Strand, who got a couple of podiums. It could have been a bit better for him, though, but still, a couple of podiums was great.
Yeah, Eric, I mean, pretty much that sucked today, man. What was going on? But no, in all seriousness, tremendous result for you. 2 podium positions. I mean, you just seem to be on another level here at this track, Eric. So, I mean, what exactly do you like about Oran Park that makes you so quick here?
I don't know. I just like it. I mean, no, I was talking with Tveit before about our setup which we were using, and I tried his, and that was like driving on ice. It was just impossible. And I stuck with mine that I used last year, which I knew killed the tires, but I just hoped would I could just tweak it a little bit to make it go a bit faster, which it did. I mean, the tires still weren't very good, but I mean, they were a lot better than last season. So I don't know. It's just I like it. It's nice and technical, I guess.
Okay, so you find yourself in a very exciting position in race 1. A lot of fans, they were pulling for you. You find yourself in 3rd position, right behind the leading battle between Jasper Tallberg and Jeffrey Rietveld. I mean, what's going through your mind at that point? Did you think you had a chance to win the race?
Well, I mean, I saw that Jasper and Jeffrey, you know, they had their little run-in in turn, 4 before, so I was lying behind them hoping that, you know, one of them would get a bit overexcited and, you know, have a little bit of an incident, which didn't happen. I ended up having an incident instead, which kind of sucked, but, I mean, you know, I had decent pace. I don't think even if I would have gotten past Rietveld when I was behind him, I think Jasper would have still got me because my tires were not very nice at that point. So maybe if they got each other out, then maybe I would have got it, but otherwise no. So thanks for everyone supporting, but I think it was probably all for nothing.
So now just the final 3-4 races in the championship. You've been very good, obviously, at Canada, the end of North American leg of the series, and then today just tremendous. So do you feel that you've now turned a corner and you can now finish within maybe the top 4, maybe in the top 3 in the standings by season's end?
Well, I mean, it depends on how strong the rest of the field is. Because if you look at the beginning of the season, like, you know, Melbourne, then all the big names were there. And now this race, for example, you know, Simon had problems, Florian had problems, Toby wasn't here, Chris wasn't here, you know, neither Robert wasn't here. That's like just 5 positions, which probably would have beat me usually. So for some reason, whenever we go to Oran Park, there's quite a low turnout, and I managed to actually overperform, I guess. So I don't know. I'm not too confident in myself.
It's never overperforming.
Yeah, nice positive.
Whatever you do, that's your performance. It's never overperforming. Definitely not.
Well, that's what I thought as well until I went to the gravel trap in turn 1. So I was like, oh, I'm performing really good. It's like, oh crap, I overperformed. So no.
Well, you finished 3rd, and that's where your performance was. You were the 3rd fastest driver. You finished 3rd. That's how it works.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Fair point, well made. But I mean, yeah, like I said, depends on how the rest of the outcome is. If I can't get Solberg for Bathurst, which is kind of disappointing. I'll have to find someone else. Not that went too well last year, but went decent. And I mean, Sandown I've never even driven on. I have no idea what it is. And Sydney went.
It's a track, Eric. It's a track.
Oh,
it's a track,
one of those. I think I've heard of those, right? No, but yeah, and then Sydney didn't go all too well for me last season. So, like I said, maybe I dragged this question on very long, but maybe.
well then, regardless, and despite you know the negative spin you put on it, well done to you, Eric. So that's going to wrap up our driver interviews.
I think that's the most positive, negative interview I've ever heard.
I think so. I think
I was fluctuating between happiness and sadness all the way through.
No, but wait, hold on. Can I just say one more thing? At Campo Grande, when I finally won in the minis, when I actually won that, I was so happy. And then I started the second race in neutral. So, I mean, if I do well one time, it's not going to... No, seriously, that's what happened. I started in neutral and stood there for about 2 seconds. Then
Eric Strand's performance is a bipolar.
Yes,
right.
Yes. Just like how my setup work. But, I mean, yeah.
Anyway, so, Danny, what an event we had. We didn't expect any of what happened, really, quite frankly.
You know, I was very...
Apart from a Rietveld pole position, perhaps, but the rest of it was very different.
You know, sorry, I'm just reading one of the comments in the chat. But anyhow, okay.
The comment was, just for the viewers, starting in neutral is not as bad as starting in reversed.
Not true.
Anyway, sorry, Danny. Analysis, Danny. Sorry.
Bruno Salsafriero, just to know, he never gets interviewed again. Just saying that. But anyhow, you know, going into this race, I was very excited to see where everyone was after the break, okay? And, you know, Jasper, he's spitting this game about him not really giving this race any more attention than he does any other race. But, you know, that was a different guy we saw today, Ryan. You and I both agree. And to see him come out today, challenge Rietveld and then beat Rietveld, it sets the stage for the now final 4 races we go to. I'm very excited to see what we got going for it. It was great to see Eric Strand get right back in the mix, because remember, he was a guy we talked about an awful lot going into the championship. Finally, he makes good on that hype, so to speak, gets a couple podium results. So it's good to see, you know, guys like even Bruno, despite him and and talking bad about me, do well today. Lars Brugman, another guy, did tremendous. So it's good to see how we've seen new drivers come up into the fray, Ryan, and I'm very excited going forward in the championship here.
And this is the championship where we have 3 rounds left. We have Sandown coming up in 2 weeks' time. A brand new track to the Touring Pro Series. Looking forward to that. It's a cracking track in real life to race on. I'm sure it will not disappoint for us in the Virtual V8 Supercars either. Then we go to City Park, and then we go to Bathurst. But the next round in the Touring Pro Series, next event, sorry, should I say, is on Wednesday. That's on the 17th of July, and that's the 8th round of the Thomas & Cole Clio Series Championship. THR and Precision, again, duking it out there for some wins. You might even see me pootling around in about 24th place or something like that, if you bother to tune in and look at that. So make sure you tune in. Keith Barrick and Scott Woodwis, and hopefully Thomas & Cole himself, the BTCC race winner, will be in the booth for that. And remember, these drivers in this championship are racing to win a test drive in a real racing car, a Volkswagen Golf Cup racing car organised by Team Hard. So don't forget, that's what they're racing for. All expenses paid. So that's a fabulous, fabulous price, the biggest there's ever been in independent sim racing, quite frankly. So make sure you tune into that. It's a fascinating championship battle. And as we head away from this 7th round of the Virtual V8 Supercars, once again, Jesper Torborg has somehow found himself in the championship lead. See you in 2 weeks.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing, puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be #1 on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.